make it nice and hot on one side, then turn it over, make it hot on the other side, and then cut it and see how it's going in the middle there. And then you go, man, I'm gonna love eating this delicious pork chop. As soon as it's hot enough to eat, I'll eat it. But while I'm waiting, I'm gonna eat a big loaf of bread. Who would do that? Have like 35 pats of butter and I'll eat that loaf of bread. And that will get my appetite sharpened up for the pork. I also noticed that desserts are different nowadays. When I was young, the waiter would come and he'd go, "What do you want for dessert? Cherry pie or apple pie?" And you go, "I will have a cherry pie." And a guy would bring one. It was very simple, you know. Things were very simple back then. Now, desserts, oh my Lord. The guy shows up and he's got a big tray, a canted angle, and every confection known to man is on it. And I don't like the way he talks, like, because he doesn't talk like the pork chop talk anymore. All of a sudden, for the dessert, he's like, oh, sexual undertones, you know. I mean, he's all like, ah. Why are you saying ah like that? He's like, ah. May I tempt you with something? Tempt me? You like decadent things? Well, I don't. I hope you left some room in your belly. Okay, listen. Are we still talking about desserts here? What's going on? I don't want to end up blowing you in the bathroom or something. I don't want to end up blowing the guy in the bathroom. Listen. I can be tricked as much as the next fella, and I don't want to be in the bathroom. Hey, wait a second. Whoa. Hold on here, maestro. I thought we were talking about a butterscotch pudding or something. I don't care much for you, Captain. I'll tell you that right now. I'll continue. I'm a man of my word, but I'll say this. I'll say this, Chief. Were my word, not my bond, then none of this. And I'm doing it reluctantly. I don't know if you noticed that, but sex to me is, first of all, I'm an old man, you know. I'm like 12 or something like that. I'm trying to get score going again. I feel that Lincoln, when he thought that up, he thought that was gonna go, you know what I mean? Like his wife was like, "Why don't you just say 87? He's like, "Why don't you shut the fuck up?" Last I checked, I was the orator in the family, and you were the fucking insane lady. I say 7, believe me. Score is gonna catch on big time. But it never did. Here's another little presidential thing. You know, there's this story about George Washington, and they said, oh, he chopped down a cherry tree, you know, when he's a little child, and then when his parents came home, he said, they said, who chopped down the cherry tree? And little George said, it was I who chopped down the cherry tree. I cannot tell a lie. And you go, wow, what a great story. But then you think about it in a little bit, right? Imagine if you drove home to your house, right? And you get there, and you go, hey, what the fuck happened to the cherry tree? Somebody chop it down or something? And then you go inside, and there's your child with an axe. So you go, what happened to the cherry tree? And then he goes, I chopped down the cherry tree. I cannot tell a lie. And you go, okay. The first part of what you said bothers me a lot. The second part scares the fuck out of me. You can't tell a lie? Incapable of lying? That would scare me. No, I live in L.A. Everybody goes to parties in L.A., and I go too, but I'm no good at them. Here's my problem. I have no opinions. You know how people have opinions? I don't got none. I like political and stuff. Sometimes before I go to a party, I'll just turn on the TV, and whatever that guy said, I'll say that. But I'm not good. Like when I go to parties, I don't want serious discussions. I try to find somebody that's at my same level, and I'm good at it. I can, like, you know how they say guys have gaydar? They can see other gay people? I'm like that with guys at my same level of smartness. Like I can see a guy in the corner and go, I can keep up with that motherfucker right there. And then I make a beeline for that character. And then we talk about Jughead comics for a couple hours. Everything's fine. Sometimes people go, well, why do you even go to these parties if you don't like, talking? Here's why I go to parties. There's only one reason why I go to parties and why I love parties, because I love those little sandwiches where they're triangles and they cut the crusts off. And then they're little equilateral triangles. And they put a little toothpick, and it has like golden cellophane and red cellophane. I can eat 30, 40 of those fuckers. And you can only get them at parties. Like, I've gone to restaurants, I go, yeah, any of them sandwiches that are shaped like triangles? And they go, no. All our sandwiches are shaped like sandwiches. I go, fuck. And then I go to like a grocery store. I go, yes, what aisle is the sandwiches with the toothpicks? I go, we don't got none. Have you tried a party? I go, I've tried not to go to those things. But I don't drink, so I'm no good at parties for that reason. Drugs, don't do them. Used to. When I was a boy, young, I'd do anything, LSD. I was about the strongest drug I ever did. Acid. I don't know if you ever done acid, but I remember when I was young and they'd tell me, they go, you gotta be careful with that acid on account of you can do it, and then you have a flashback. Like 10 years could pass, 20 years could pass, and then you get a flashback. So I thought, well, that sounds like a good deal, And I went to my drug dealer, Frank. I said, Frank, is there a drug on the market where I pay you $5? I take the drug, I get high, and then 20 years later I get high again? And he said, yes. And I think of myself as somebody who is good at stretching his drug dollar. But the point of the whole thing is for me to tell you young folk that it's not true at all. Because I have not done LSD since I was a teenager. 10 years have passed, 20 years have passed. Sadly, 30 years have passed. And still, no flat. What a gyp that turned out to be. Just more horse shit by the big acid companies, if you ask me. I don't want to get too political, but if you think big acid cares about you, the little guy, they care about their third quarter profits. That's what they care about. My friend is a vegetarian, and you ever been wrong and you suddenly realize, because all her arguments are right about vegetarianism. Like she'll go like, how can you kill an animal where you can get the same from the grass of the field? It makes no sense. And then I go, I like pork. So, of course she's right. And I'm wrong. And it's weird when you realize you've been wrong about everything they ever believed about vegetarianism. Not everything. Imagine if you woke up and you realized you were wrong about everything. You just woke up and you go, God damn, I've been wrong about every single thing I've ever believed. Then it's time to go down to the rope store, in my opinion, because it's not going to get better, you know. Go to the rope store. That's my suggestion to you. And get a hunk of rope about this big. And then go to the rickety stool store. And listen, it's no coincidence that the rope store and the rickety stool store are always right beside each other, right? I don't want to get political or anything like that, but... When people commit suicide, no one ever understands. You know what I mean? People commit suicide, people go, I don't understand why. And I go, you don't? What, you live in a cotton candy house or something? What the fuck? You don't know about life? How it only disappoints and gets worse and worse until it ends in a catastrophe? What the fuck? There's two reasons guys will hang themselves from the neck. One is, like we said, to escape this worthless masquerade of a life we pretend we have. And the second reason we hang ourselves from the neck is to whack off. These guys, I don't understand. It's called autoerotic asphyxiation. It's a big fancy word, but it's a filthy thing. And this is my problem with it. The risk-reward is not good. And I know the reward because I read about it. Like, apparently, by cutting off the oxygen or something like that, you increase your orgasm until it's 1.5 times as powerful as the one you had the Thursday before last. But is that really that important? I mean, we have a lot of things in this country. It's, you know, it's raining in the forest. There's all kinds of shit we have to think about. Let alone whacking off. That's our big problem. But the risk, good Lord. People always wonder what happens after you die. No one knows, you know? People pretend to know, but no one knows what happens after you die. But I know what happens to you right after you die. I know what happens directly after you die. You are found. And this is where it gets tricky. And it's always by a loved one, you know? And you don't want your son walking in going, ah, what the fuck? The fuck is Dad? What cat? Huh? And that's how you'll be remembered forever, you know? Doesn't matter what else you accomplish in life. See, people are under the misapprehension that that their life is like a motion picture that will be remembered as such, but it's not. It's just a photograph, you know, a still photograph. And that's unfortunately how it is. But, you know, like if you think your son will remember you as, I remember my dad took me to Disneyland in the blistering heat, and by God, he stood in line to get Mickey Mouse's autograph. It took him 2 hours. It was for me. He knew it wasn't the real Mickey Mouse. He had to have. He was an unemployed college kid. And yet he stayed for me. Ha, Dad. He had 2 jobs, you know, to put food on my plate, and my brother's and my mom's. 2 jobs. And I remember one time, I'll never forget it, he came home late at night, and I was in bed.
After closing out a successful first season, the WNBA is considering several changes to improve the level of play in the league next year. Among the proposals, extending the playoffs, increasing salaries, bringing back the three-point line, and replacing all the female players with guys.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here, you know, and I was asked to host the ESPYs this year. Yeah, hi, that's my name, Espen. When I was asked to host the ESPYs this year, folks, I said yes immediately for one reason and one reason only. This show has interns. I'll be having little improper relations backstage a little later. But man, it's great to be here at the 6th annual ESPY Awards. Hard to believe, huh, that the ESPYs are 6 years old. Although Anthony Mason swears they're 18. So, yeah, he'll be having sex with the ESPYs in about 12 years. So, I was a little late here tonight. I took the cab to the theater, folks. And I don't know if you've ever been in these New York City cabs, but I got one of those cabbies, couldn't speak English, you know. Saw his name there on the dash. I couldn't even pronounce it. I think it was something like Hideki Arabu. Something like that. Arabu's been having some trouble, man. They fired his translator. Steinbrenner fired his translator. And people see that as cruel, you know, but I don't know, you know. I mean, if you're not doing well in Yankee Stadium, you know, do you really need a translator? Do you want that, you know? You know? Hey, what'd they say? They say you suck. You should go back to Japan, you dirty foreigner. Okay, I got it. I'm trying to pitch over here. It's great to be here on ESPN. I love sports, man. Man, you can see sports on ESPN you don't see on other networks. You know, like kickboxing. That's my favorite sport. Kickboxing is great. When you think about it, it combines the style and grace of boxing with kicking. It just seems kind of immature. Just backstage, a lot of celebrities back there, man. I was talking to Jerry Jones, you know, the Cowboys owner, and he's disappointed, obviously. Yeah. Well, he's a good guy, though, man. He's talking about rebuilding the team, you know. And he told me, he says, we have to get back to what made us a championship team. Strippers and crack. Hey, have you heard about this? Ted Turner and NBC plan to start their own rival football league to compete with the NFL. And not much known about the specifics of this new league, except for this, it will suck. They know that. So they might have trouble, you know, getting advertisers when we know it will suck. And of course, congratulations to the Denver Broncos for winning the Super Bowl. How about that? Denver did great, you know. There he is. I love the Denver fans, you know, because for one thing, they don't wear food on their heads. That's nice. And they had a wild celebration in Denver after that Super Bowl, man. And now city officials expect an even wilder celebration if the Nuggets win 10 games this year. They say they're going to... say the whole city's going to go nuts. Yeah, the Nuggets are having a bad year this year, man. Matter of fact, they're making a film about the team. They got a pretty catchy title. It's Black Men Can't Jump Either. Well, NBA All-Star Weekend over. That was exciting, man. The East beat the West. Jeff Hornacek won the three-point shootout. Houston's Clyde Drexler and Cynthia Cooper won that exciting two-ball thing. And Charles Barkley won the throw a guy through a plate glass window contest. So that That was quite a game, you know. I mean, you know who impressed me the most yesterday was Kobe Bryant. Unbelievable. This guy's amazing. 19 years old, the youngest starter ever in the All-Star game, and he played so well that today he was named spokesman for NBC's new public service campaign called Screw It, Who Needs College? Of course, the biggest story in basketball, no question about it, Michael Jordan may retire. Yeah. Michael Jordan may retire after this season, and it's terrible news for Bull fans, you know, but it is terrific news for golf hustlers. They're happy about it. But Jordan is very serious, though, about leaving. In fact, he's already called the Hall of Fame to make sure that his plaque bears his basketball nickname, Air Jordan, and not his baseball nickname, Senior Crappy. That would just be disrespectful, you know? Well, how about them Winter Olympics? They're finally underway, so we've got a lot of great stuff to look forward to the next 2 weeks, like hockey and, well, just hockey, really. I was watching last night, I saw speed skating, and my goodness, you know, could the outfits they wear be any tighter? Holy Lord. There was an East German woman, I swear, you could see the outline of her entire penis. It was... Oh, my goodness. Well, there's all kinds of sports celebrities in the audience tonight. I see Tiger Woods right there. Tiger Woods, how about that, huh? Yeah, he's up for golf. Of course, he's up for Golfer of the Year this ESPYs. And you know who I feel sorry for, folks, is the other two guys nominated for Golfer of the Year. You see these guys getting ready, you know, it's like, hey, honey, have you seen my tuxedo? No, not the good one. The one I wear when I'm going to get my ass kicked. Have you seen that one? Boomer Esiason is with us. Boomer. How you doing, buddy? Boomer, of course, will replace Frank Gifford on Monday Night Football next season. And Frank told reporters that this will allow him to spend more time with his wife and children. Then he broke down and cried for 45 minutes. So. And there's Charles Woodson. How about that? What a season he had. Great, man. He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. And congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case... all bets are off. Just a word of advice. Roast, huh? Yeah, you gotta laugh just to escape. Do you know that 11 million children died last year from preventable diseases? The f*** are you smiling about?
We're back. I'm here with Norm Macdonald. Now, Norm, you know, you're doing Weekend Update again this year. You got to do a lot of stuff about the news. That's all you got to do is the news.
That's it.
What are we going to be hearing this year?
Well,
anything?
I'm looking forward to the Olympics coming up. You know, that's because I love sports. You know, I watch every sport. So the Olympics is my favorite thing. And I don't watch them. Like sometimes in the Olympics they have like lame sports. You know, where they're not real sports. You know, like. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll try to combine two sports together, you know, make up a new sport.
Right.
You know? They're fine sports together, but when they mix them up, they make a god-awful mess, you know. And like I saw this one, I remember, it was a guy, he like run a 100-yard dash and then fish. You know, the guys... know,
Fish, yeah.
Yeah, he's fishing in a creek.
So that's not a good one. You don't like that.
No, and you know, all the sports, and you know, they got the great sports, and then the bizarre. Like, you ever see that one where they like walk fast? It's the fast walking. It's just a guy walking fast. It's not like a sport. And you know, like that you know, this guy doesn't get a lot of respect around the Olympic Village, you know, from like the sprinters and stuff, you know. They're going, hey Fred, good stroll today there, man. That was a briskest stroll. What do you smashed the 20-minute mile? I heard. They said it could never be done. But you know what's weird is that guy gets a gold medal, and meanwhile, like the decathlon champ, he gets a gold medal. You know, that's not fair. Like they shouldn't get the same thing. You get the gold medal, you're the world's greatest athlete, you do 10, and then the other guy walks fast. It's like crazy.
They should have another medal.
Yeah, they should have.
That's not right.
He should get like they should give that guy like a stick or something. You get a stick, you know?
A nice stick, but a stick.
Yeah, a nice stick. That's for you, buddy. And then you can do all your great endorsement deals there afterwards.
All right. Well.
Is this a really good question, Norm? Here's a familiar face for you,
It's
Blake.
a question from Blake's good friend, Norm. No, Blake, it's fun watching you this year. Wasn't it cool?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was wondering, like, there's a kind of a curse with Rookie of the Year. Nobody's ever repeated it.
I didn't think about that. Well, I'll try as hard as I can next year, but
All right, man.
I don't know. I don't know. Thank you for that question, though. That's going on top of the goals for next year.
I just saw this footage of you doing these amazing tricks, and I can't imagine doing anything like that. But are there any tricks that you're known for in particular? I know that you know, different athletes maybe have different moves. Is there one that's kind of yours?
There is. Funny you should mention. It's called the crippler.
The crippler.
The crippler.
Okay, did you come up with that name?
No. Definitely not. My mom, every time I say it, she's like, can't we come up with something more sweet and feminine?
Right.
The crippler's it's a little scary.
What does the crippler involve? Describe this move to us.
Okay, so in the half pipe, you have a front side wall and a back side wall. And the crippler's done on the front side wall. And you're spinning, well, regular crippler 540 is 1.5 rotations, and you're also doing a backflip at the same time. So spinning, flipping, that's crippler.
Wow. Okay, have you been really badly hurt doing this one or no?
Well, it took me a long time to figure out how to do this trick.
Right.
Multiple black eyes, landing on my butt a lot. It took a little while.
Okay.
Being crippled?
No. I didn't. No.
I should have warned you about him.
I know.
He's going to be here the whole time.
Kelly. I love Kelly.
Gretchen.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Gretchen.
Yeah.
No, you want me to say why I said Kelly? Because I was just on the phone with a girl named Kelly. But I'm telling you about this girl named Kelly. She couldn't do no
Crippler.
no 1440.
Yeah.
You ever do a 1440?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What's the most you've ever done?
900.
900 is
That's
huge.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, 900 is what?
Andy, I may ask you to take Norm for a walk.
Oh, okay.
Just around the parking lot. Now, Norm, in his own way, brings up a good point.
Right.
Which is there's crazy terms that you use in this snowboarding, right? Yeah, they don't just say it's the crippler is one of them, but give us some examples of some of the terms people use.
Yeah, so there's, everyone loves to talk about this because the snowboarding lingo is just a little out there. But we have, like, in snowboarding, style is really important, and where you grab your board, it's really important. And so there's some crazy names for grabs, like the chicken salad grab, the roast beef, Japan air, stale fish, slob air.
Do they
Yeah.
mean? I mean, is there a reason for those names, or they just randomly you're just throwing stuff out like the flosser and you know, the onion stew? I mean, you're just throwing stuff out there that has no relation to anything.
You should come up with a
Jub
snowboard
pie
grab.
and gob gob.
Yeah. Maybe if you want to come up with like where to grab it and then call it something, and I'll bring it out.
Oh, what about
contest?
like?
Now, here we go. Here we go.
No, she asked, but I like that crippler.
Yeah.
What about the long-suffering death?
Oh, that's a different one. That's different.
She didn't ask, technically.
Yeah, I did. I don't think that.
You're headed into your second Olympics.
I am.
You excited? You must be.
A quick question.
Good
I'm sorry.
God.
I'm sorry.
When I pick up the blue
why
card-
is it that in some sports, like beach volleyball or snowboarding, the women are breathtakingly beautiful, and you would think they would be big, big. You'd think they'd be big monsters of ladies.
Why would you think that, though?
Well, like softball.
We can't be
First of all, I know you're a big sports fanatic.
Oh, I love
sports. You're also a guy that keeps up on the news, and there's big news out there in the sporting world.
The big news is Oscar Pistorius.
Yeah, huge news.
And I don't like him, don't care for him, never did.
Really? You don't like Oscar Pistorius even before he... What are you doing?
I had something in my tooth.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't like him.
You're saying, I mean, a lot of people don't like him now that he murdered somebody, but
yeah,
but before that, allegedly.
But also really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have problems with the murder.
Right.
But what I never liked him racing with them things that looked like something Wile E. Coyote would order. And
what?
Well, they
you
were.
had a problem with him racing with his blades. His blades. He was the Blade Runner.
Yes, he
Those
was.
Teflon blades.
I did have a big problem with it because, I'll put it this way. Let's imagine you're a runner, with legs.
Yeah.
And then you go home, you go, oh, I lost, honey. Who'd you lose to? Guy with no legs.
Wait, you're saying that you didn't like that Oscar Pistorius raced against people with legs?
No, I don't. I feel that one of the basic requirements of being a sprinter is having legs. I feel that they should say, okay, listen, let's, hey, what about you? I don't think you can be on the team. Why not? Well, you're not a biped. You have no legs, so scram.
Okay.
You take your time as long as you want. But get the hell out of here.
No one's going with you on this. Nobody is with you on this at all.
Except the feller at home that's like, that son of a bitch I lost my race to that got no legs.
Are you saying he had an unfair advantage because he had these?
Well, of course. He had rocket ships.
They're not rocket ships.
Okay.
Andy, help me out here.
No, it's still him running.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, guys, I agree with you then. Oscar Pistorius is a scholar and a gentleman.
All right.
He's a murderer.
He turned it around on us.
Alleged murderer.
And that's the part you like.
Yeah, you said I'm okay with that part.
No, I'll tell you something, though, Conan.
WNBA officials expanded to 10 teams this week, adding franchises in Detroit and Washington, D.C. But before you get too excited about the new additions to the league, remember, all of the players are still women. They stink at basketball. That's the problem. Other than that, it'd be a good, good game, but they're all horrible, so it makes for a kind of a boring game.
All right, so Joe Rogan is known to have trouble understanding jokes sometimes. That's been well documented, and some of his comedian friends have even talked about it quite a bit. But a great example of this that people don't really mention too much is the time Norm Macdonald trolled him. And he did it so well, still to this day, Joe doesn't realize it was just a bit and Norm was trying to mess with him. And Joe tells this story all the time. I mean, he loves telling it because he loves Norm. Like, Norm might be the number one person or comedian, at least, that Joe wishes he could have had on his podcast. And I'm sure Joe tried to make it happen plenty of times. But Norm isn't the easiest guest to get on your show. And also, I don't think Norm was the biggest fan of Joe's. I don't think he disliked him or anything, but it's clear he didn't really think he was the best comedian. I mean, there are only a handful of times Norm ever mentioned Joe, and when he did, he was just kind of goofing on him and the Death Squad. Like, he talked about it with Bobby Lee on his show, and he was just laughing about how Rogan and his posse of comedians used to call themselves the Death Squad.
Are you part of the Death Squad? Okay.
But I have had problems with them.
Yeah.
They tried to derail me years ago. Well, because I was in cahoots with Mencia, they thought.
Okay.
Oh, right.
So when the whole Carlos Mencia, Joe Rogan thing happened, they had me on tape. Apologize, that's what I said back then.
Do you mean he put this up on the internet or
then
something?
Then he put it on the internet, Death Squad did, right? And all of a sudden now, right?
You opened for Mencia, which made you the enemy of the Death Squad.
Yeah. Because,
it's like a Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah, it's just like it.
So the Death Squad.
I don't know what Bruce Lee movie.
They're comedians?
Yeah.
Well, don't you think Death Squad makes more sense in a Bruce Lee movie than a comedy club?
That's true, that's true.
I went to a comedy club, and then the next week, the Death Squad were there. It was just odd. I don't know. I mean, I acted like it was a normal thing. And I said, I was here next week. I said, the Death Squad.
Sorry, blood and oxygen pass the blood-brain barrier, so you won't get Alzheimer's.
Joe Rogan didn't give you this by any chance.
Yeah, so it definitely seems like Norm didn't find Joe very funny, but he did find it funny to goof on him. Like, the only other time I could find where Norm mentioned him at all is when he's talking about how Joe is a drug advocate.
We were talking in a break about salvia and drug advocates like Joe Rogan that are actual advocates of drugs, which they didn't used to be,
Well, you just mentioned Timothy Leary earlier.
Well, yes, there were academics and there were intellectuals, but I'm just talking about nightclub comics. but I was just wondering about Mark's experience.
And it sounds like Norm didn't really like when comedians would start to stray away from just doing comedy and get more into philosophy and that kind of stuff.
I read one place that said the comedian is the modern day philosopher. And first thing I thought is, I wonder how the actual modern day philosophers feel about it.
So Norm would probably hate the comedy landscape now, but he probably just find it funny. It'd been great to see him goof on some of these guys. Like, it's too bad we never got to see him on Rogan's podcast, because I'm sure he would have made some jokes about Joe and they would have gone over his head. Like, just seeing Joe try to understand some of the jokes Norm would be making would have been great. I mean, still to this day, Joe doesn't realize that Norm was doing a bit one of the times they met each other, and I believe it was over 15 years ago, maybe. And Joe still tells this story like, oh no, he's being 100% serious. Like, apparently Joe had a conversation with Norm on a plane that either was Norm doing a bit or it caused Norm to relapse on cigarettes. So apparently Rogan, he was randomly seated next to Norm 2 different times on flights. And the second time, Norm spent most of the flight talking to Rogan about how he quit cigarettes. But then when they landed, right away, Norm bought a pack and started smoking them. And it was like, man, all that talk about cigarettes made me want to smoke, which definitely sounds like Norm's sense of humor. And Rogan's obviously the perfect person to do this bit on because he's going to completely believe it. I mean, it would have been great seeing his reaction when they got back and Norm lit up a cigarette. I mean, it sounded like he's just in shock. Like, what are you doing? I thought you quit smoking. What's going on? And still, he acts like he saw Norm relapse on cigarettes, even though some comedians have kind of tried to explain it to him. But you can tell they also don't really want to burst Joe's bubble because he loves this story. He loves telling it. I mean, he's probably told it over 20 times on his podcast, and still whenever he brings it up, he acts like it's the first time anybody's heard it. So he brought this up to Colin Quinn when he was on there, and Colin was much closer to Norm. Like, he was actually friends with him, so he would know. And it sounds like he's heard Norm do this bit before. But like I said, I don't think he really wants to burst Joe's bubble, so he kind of just politely tries to explain it to him. And it's funny because before Joe brings this up, they're talking about how Norm was like the ultimate troll, but then still Joe goes on to tell the story like he was being 100% serious.
As a double troll.
Yeah.
No, Norm is capable of the double troll. It's like,
He's the double troll, exactly.
yes, he's the master of that stuff.
I randomly wound up sitting next to him on planes twice. on 2 different occasions, just like I go, Norm, like out of nowhere, and he's sitting next to me. And one time we're sitting there, we're talking, and we're having a good old time. And then he's talking about, I quit smoking. He's telling me how he quit smoking and finally quit smoking. And he's telling me all these things. And then when he lands, he literally like he can't stop himself, runs into the airport store and buys cigarettes. And he's lighting it as he's leaving. I go, I thought you quit. He goes, I did. But all that talking about smoking makes me want one. And he's like, before he even got out the door, he's lighting the cigarette. He just couldn't stop himself.
But I like he goes, all that talking. He's the one talking about it. All that talking. He always puts it on you. That's what's great about it.
But
he's like, this guy talks about smoking. He got me back smoking.
But it was so crazy because I was like, that's great, Norm. It's so great you quit. And he's like, fuck, I want a cigarette.
Yeah. No, he always do like, yeah, I mean, I don't drink, I quit drinking. And it was like, oh, really? Did you drink a lot? Yeah. I quit. I finally had to quit, It's hard, but I did it. And they're like, oh. He goes, yeah, because I got fucking wasted last night. And I said, I'm never going to drink again. I was drunk. And people are like, wait, I think you quit. Yeah, I quit. That's what I'm saying. He's always...
Last night?
Yeah. It's like an elaborate, like Abbott and Costello routine.
Yes, exactly.
But this just makes the bit so much better. The fact that still after all these years, Joe actually believes Norm quit smoking and he saw him relapse after the conversation they had. And Joe also brought this up to Tom Green, and his response was like, yeah, knowing Norm is probably all an elaborate setup.
Lighting them before he gets out the door.
Yeah.
And I go, I thought you quit. He goes, I did, but all that talking about it made me want to smoke.
Yeah, it's probably all an elaborate setup, right? He probably was planning it the whole way.
I don't know.
Who knows?
So it would have been great seeing them do a podcast together. And I saw somebody did ask Norm during an AMA he's doing on Reddit if he had ever gone on Joe's podcast. And even his answer just seems like he's trolling. They're like, do you have any plans of doing Joe's podcast? I would love to see you on there. He just said, I will do that. And then I also saw this interaction that Norm had with Joe on Twitter back in 2016. And again, it seems like Norm could be just trying to mess with Joe, because I guess Tony Hinchcliffe on his Netflix special, he had a joke that had a similar premise to one of Norm's. And Norm probably heard it was one of Rogan's friends, like somebody part of the death squad, which he probably thought was hilarious. So he tweeted at Joe and just said, Joe, someone tells me a man stole a joke from me and put it on his Netflix special, says he's a friend of yours. Can you vouch for him? And it's just hilarious that he went to Rogan with this, and he doesn't even mention Tony's name at all. Like, he just calls him a man. He doesn't even refer to him as a comedian either. And Joe responded and said, Norm, Tony Hinchcliffe's joke is completely different. They're just about the same subject. He's not a thief. So it definitely seems like Norm just enjoyed trying to mess with Joe. And there were rumors of him possibly going on Joe's podcast, I think around like 2018, 2019. And I think Joe mentioned like they're texting back and forth, but Norm was in some controversy because he defended Louis C.K. and he made some joke on the Howard Stern show or something. And I think at the time he had like a Netflix deal, and he claimed Netflix just didn't want him to go on Joe's podcast, which again could be him just trying to mess with Joe, like using it as an opportunity to be like, oh, I would go on there, but right now they don't want me to. But also, even after that, Norm was planning on bringing back his live show, and Adam Egget, who's the co-host and now actually the booker for the Mothership, he was on Joe's podcast, and he said that Norm wanted Joe on as the first guest for the show. And it sounded like it was serious, like they're scheduling things, and obviously Joe sounded really excited about it, but unfortunately it never happened.
To put all the nuts and bolts into place, and then get a studio, get a camera, and just do it. But you're going to be the first guest.
I'm in.
All right, good.
So just tell me when, so I can plan ahead.
We're shooting the first one in the fall, so
okay. So you're gonna plan it out. You're gonna map it out in advance.
I can't wait, and we're still,
I'm in. I love Norm to pieces. He's one of my all-time favorite human beings.
Same here.
That have ever lived. I have a great story about Norm. Me and him on a plane. And randomly, this is crazy, but true, randomly, twice I sat next to him on planes.
Yeah, and right on cue, Joe goes into that story, but then he starts talking about how amazing Norm's podcast would be.
I can't wait to come back with this podcast.
Norm is the hidden king of the internet. If he decided to have a podcast, it would be the biggest podcast of all time. If he just did it on a regular basis.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. I mean, that podcast would have been great, especially seeing Rogan on there or any of his comedian friends, like seeing Norm interact with them. But unfortunately, we never got a podcast with Joe and Norm, which I'm sure Joe is really disappointed about. But at least he always has this plain story I'm sure he's never going to stop telling. So that's about it for this video. If you guys want more content from me, if you want to hear about what happened to the Death Squad, like why they stopped using that name and how they kind of got in an argument about it, make sure you check out my Patreon account. I made a whole video about that. And I also have a video about the fight between Bill Burr and Brian Redband that happened on Joe's podcast. That was really entertaining. And there's just a ton of other stuff on Patreon. I have over 80 videos. There's a lot to go through. So if you're a fan of the channel, you want to help support it, make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the description.
I was pretending to be asleep, but I wasn't. And he came in, and he was very quiet, and he came up to me, and he kissed me on that area between my forehead and the bridge of my nose. He kissed me right there, and he said quietly, so as not to wake me, "I love you, son." And then he left. And the next day, I wanted to say something to him at breakfast table, but he was already out. He was driving hack. That was his second job. But my God, my dad. Anyways, they don't remember that at all. All they remember is, ah! You know, because. Unfortunately, that's the way human beings are. I think if I were to do it, I don't think I ever would. But you never know. You can't predict the future. I could wake up one day and go, I want to have one of them orgasms. That's 3 over 2 times as strong as the... I knew that advanced math degree was going to come in handy sometime. I just did not know when. This is what I would do if it ever happened to me. I would disguise it so it looked like an actual suicide. Because then, when I was found, my son wouldn't go, ah! He'd go, oh, mysterious. Dad's a mysterious guy. It's going to be a pretty cool story from here on in. So I would pretend, you know, it was a real suicide. Like I would write a note, a suicide note. Do you think this would be funny, just as a practical joke, if you just wrote a suicide note and just blamed some random guy? Would you think that would be, you know what I mean? You know, like your barber or something like that, you know? It was all Ralph Abernathy's fault. Because you know the police would be compelled to go to Abernathy's barbershop and go, have you ever heard of a fella named Norm Macdonald? I go, yeah, he'd come in every couple of months for a trim. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, he took his life because of you. He wrote it here in this letter. Would you like to keep the... And then Ralph Abernathy would have to spend the rest of his life walking down. Life's hard enough without having to... That's not a good practical joke. I should never have framed that as a good practical joke because it's probably the worst practical joke. You know, it's the kind of practical joke gets you raped by the devil for all of time. I came here from Las Vegas, Nevada, and when I was on the air, where do airplanes go from? Airports. I was in the airport, guys were asking, everyone wanted my ID, and it occurred to me that ID is a strange abbreviation because I is short for I, and then D is short for identification. So, seems to me D is doing most of the legwork on that one. But Vegas was cool. They have a motto in Vegas. They got their own slogan for the city. It says, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," which is not true. You know, you can't kill a guy and then just leave, you know? They'll follow you. They'll find you. They'll bring you back and they'll try you in front of a jury of your peers. So I thought, well, what does it mean anyways? You know, and I ruminated about it. Days and days and nights. Sleepless weeks became sleepless more weeks. And finally, it occurred to me. It was so simple. It was right in front of my face the entire time. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. All it really means is you can go to Vegas, you can have sex with a prostitute, and she will not tell your wife. They're very discreet, the Las Vegas prostitutes. You know? Not like these gossipy small town whores back where you live. You know? These fucking blabbermouths. Down at the beauty parlor with that pale blue thing over their head, whatever the fuck that is. Going, "You're Marge Majerison, John Neal's wife?" Well, by God. I took a shit on him last night. In exchange for cash. Nice fella. My favorite thing is the magic phones that we all have. You know, not so long ago, phones were not magic. They were just used to telephone people. And they couldn't take pictures, you know? If you wanted to take a picture, this was only like 20 years ago, you would have to use it. You couldn't use a phone. I remember I tried. Go, "Okay, just hold on there." Just. People go, "What are you doing?" I go, "Don't worry, it's." I was kind of ahead of my time, but they thought. No, you had to use a camera, and then you would put film in the camera, and then you would go to a photo mat. It was wonderful, and you'd give it to this old man, and he'd go behind some beads and stuff, you know? And then you go, "When am I going to see them pictures?" And you go, and then you go, "I'll phone you every couple of weeks. How'd that be?" And then one day you got the news. Your pictures were ready. And so you brought your whole family and you all showed up and you got that envelope. It was wonderful. And you opened that seal, you know, and then there were the pictures, a whole handful. Like you go, "Hey, look at this. It's a picture of Aunt Ida, but her eyes are red like the devil." Maybe Aunt Ida's the devil. "Hey, look at this. It's a picture of my dog, but I put a hat and glasses on it so it would look like a person." Still looks kind of like a dog a little bit. "Hey, look, it's a picture of you, but look at your jacket and your hair. Ah! Look at the way you used to dress. Ah! Remember that hair?" So you needed that time for the picture to make any sense or have any resonance. You know, nowadays you go, "Hey, would you like to see a picture of you standing right where you are 1 second ago?" I got one here. "Your hair is identical." Guess it would be, huh? In the real old days, they would take pictures like, and at my house, I have a picture of my great-grandfather. And I only have one, you know? Back then, they only had one picture of everybody because they'd pull that thing and it would explode and all that shit, you know? And it was just nobody was happy because it took so long to get your picture taken. And so it's just my great-grandfather going, how long is this gonna take, Sarah? Who's gonna feed them hogs? Damn sure ain't gonna be Marjorie, I'll tell you that. You know what else I like about the magic phone? Wikipedia. Oh, you ever use that? That's the best, man. It makes a democracy out of smartness. Everybody's equal now. You know, used to be a guy would go to school 5, 6 years, and then he'd talk to me, and I'd be like, ah. But now it's all different. I got my magic phone in my pocket. So a guy will say to me, he'll go, hey, Norm, you ever hear of a fella that went by the name of Claude Monet? And I go, why, of course I have. I got to go to the bathroom. And I go to the bathroom. And I'm in there 20, 25 minutes, and I come back. I go, hey, listen, I was just, we were talking about Claude Monet, and I just wanted to say that, you know what I liked about him was his paintings. I liked the way he painted. He was a painter, and I loved how he used the paint to make paintings. And the guy goes, God damn, Norm, I've never been able to stump you in 2 years. I go, But I looked on because I like learning on my Wikipedia, and I looked because I was wondering about fame, the nature of fame, because it's changed so much, you know? And when I was young, it was one thing, and now it's a whole different thing. And I was wondering how many people have been to the moon, like have actually walked on the moon. So I looked on my magic telephone, and I found out only 13 or 14 in the entire history of the world. You would think that would make you very, very famous. But no. The last guy who walked, now you'd think he would be famous for being the last guy to be on the moon. His name was Harrison Schmitt. Now, who ever heard of him? Meanwhile, he goes all the way to the moon, hangs around there for a while, and comes back. He's not famous, but a girl with a giant ass is famous. Now, when I was young, a man who went to the moon was famous. And a lady with a giant ass, you'd go, can you stand over there? Because this is... Harrison Schmitt. So how many people that went to the moon do we even know? There was, we know the first ones. There was Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. They went Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. And even the third is hard to remember. His name was Michael Collins. And Michael Collins, in one of the just most unfair jokes, I don't know what it was, he got to go all the way to the moon, but not go on the moon. All the way to the moon, and then that little rope ladder, he wasn't allowed to go down. He had to stay in the lunar capsule while Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong went on the moon. And Michael Collins just looking out the window going, are those motherfuckers golfing? Good God, they're golfing. Wait a minute, they got a dune buggy now. I was only allowed to bring so much, and they brought dune buggies. This is... I have to keep up a good face, I guess. And then Buzz and Neil, I'm sure they were nice guys. They didn't want to hurt Michael Collins, you know. So they probably went back, you know, to the lunar capsule, you know, and Michael Collins was like, what do you think, guys? What was the moon like? What was it like? And they were like, ah. It's all right if you like that kind of thing, I guess. I prefer the lunar capsule myself. I can't speak for Buzz, but I really do like the lunar capsule. Because that's what you do. You know, most of your life, is mundane. So I had to write a book, right? So it was a book about my life. So they said, you know, just write about your life. So I said, oh, thank you, yeah. Yeah, it turned out to be the greatest comic novel ever written, but when it started, it was supposed to be a memoir, you know, a autobiography. So it makes you think about, well, what is my life? So I started thinking about it, right? So I said, okay, I wake up in the morning and I eat some Count Chocula. And I was pretending to be asleep, but I wasn't. And he came in, and he was very quiet, and he came up to me, and he kissed me on that area between my forehead and the bridge of my nose. He kissed me right there, and he said quietly, so as not to wake me, "I love you, son." And then he left. And the next day, I wanted to say something to him at breakfast table, but he was already out. He was driving hack. That was his second job. But my God, my dad, anyways, they don't remember that at all. All they remember is, you know, because unfortunately, that's the way human beings are. I think if I were to do it, I don't think I ever would. But you never know. You can't predict the future. I could wake up one day and go, I want to have one of them orgasms. That's 3 over 2 times as strong as the... I knew that advanced math degree was going to come in handy sometime. I just did not know when. This is what I would do if it ever happened to me. I would disguise it so it looked like an actual suicide. Because then, when I was found, my son wouldn't go, ah! He'd go, oh, mysterious. Dad's a mysterious guy. It's going to be a pretty cool story from here on in. So I would pretend, you know, it was a real suicide. Like I would write a note, a suicide note. Do you think this would be funny, just as a practical joke, if you just wrote a suicide note and just blamed some random guy? Do you think that would be, you know what I mean? You know, like your barber or something like that, you know, it was all Ralph Abernathy's fault. Because you know the police would be compelled to go to Abernathy's barbershop and go, have you ever heard of a fellow named Norm Macdonald? I go, yeah, he'd come in every couple of months for a trim. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, he took his life because of you. He wrote it here in this letter. Would you like to keep the... And then Ralph Abernathy would have to spend the rest of his life walking down. Life's hard enough without having to... That's not a good practical joke. I should never have frame that as a good practical joke because it's probably the worst practical joke. You know, it's the kind of practical joke gets you raped by the devil for all of time. I came here from Las Vegas, Nevada, and when I was on the air, where do airplanes go from? Airports. I was in the airport, and guys were asking, everyone wanted my ID, and it occurred to me that ID is a strange abbreviation because I is short for I, and then D is short for identification. So seems to me D is doing most of the legwork on that one. But Vegas was cool. They have a motto in Vegas. They got their own slogan for the city. It says, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," which is not true. You know, you can't kill a guy and then just leave, you know? They'll follow you. They'll find you. They'll bring you back and they'll try you in front of a jury of your peers. So I thought, well, what does it mean anyways? You know, and I ruminated about it days and days and nights. Sleepless weeks became sleepless more weeks. And finally, it occurred to me. It was so simple. It was right in front of my face the entire time. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. All it really means is you can go to Vegas, you can have sex with a prostitute, and she will not tell your wife. They're very discreet, the Las Vegas prostitutes. You know? Not like these gossipy small town whores back where you live. You know? These fucking blabbermouths. Down at the beauty parlor with that pale blue thing over their head, whatever the fuck that is. Going, "You're Marge Majerison, John Neal's wife?" Well, by God. I took a shit on him last night. In exchange for cash. Nice fella. My favorite thing is the magic phones that we all have. You know, not so long ago, phones were not magic. They were just used to telephone people. And they couldn't take pictures, you know? If you wanted to take a picture, this was only like 20 years ago, you would have to use it. You couldn't use a phone. I remember I tried, go, "Okay, just hold on there." Just, people go, "What are you doing?" I go, "Don't worry, I was kind of ahead of my time," but they thought, no, you had to use a camera, and then you would put film in the camera, and then you would go to a photo mat. It was wonderful, and you'd give it to this old man, and he'd go behind some beads and stuff, you know? And then you go, "When am I gonna see them pictures?" And you go, "I don't know." And then you go, "I'll phone you every couple of weeks. How'd that be?" And then one day you got the news. Your pictures were ready. And so you brought your whole family and you all showed up and you got that envelope. It was wonderful. And you opened that seal, you know, and then there were the pictures, a whole handful. Like you go, "Hey, look at this. It's a picture of Aunt Ida, but her eyes are red like the devil." Maybe Aunt Ida's the devil. "Hey, look at this. It's a picture of my dog, but I put a hat and glasses on it so it looked like a person." Still looks kind of like a dog a little bit. "Hey, look, it's a picture of you, but look at your jacket and your hair. Ah! Look at the way you used to dress. Ah! Remember that hair?" So you needed that time for the picture to make any sense or have any resonance. You know, nowadays you go, "Hey, would you like to see a picture of you standing right where you are 1 second ago?" I got one here. "Your hair is identical." Guess it would be, huh? In the real old days, they would take pictures like, and at my house I have a picture of my great-grandfather, and I only have one, you know? Back then, they only had one picture of everybody because they'd pull that thing and it would explode and all that shit, you know? And it was just nobody was happy because it took so long to get your picture taken. And so it's just my great-grandfather going, "How long is this gonna take, Sarah? Who's gonna feed them hogs? Damn sure ain't gonna be Marjorie, I'll tell you that." You know what else I like about the magic phone? Wikipedia. Oh, you ever use that? That's the best, man. It makes a democracy out of smartness. Everybody's equal now. You know, used to be a guy would go to school 5, 6 years, and then he'd talk to me, and I'd be like, ah. But now it's all different. I got my magic phone in my pocket. So a guy will say to me, he'll go, hey, Norm, you ever hear of a fella that went by the name of Claude Monet? And I go, why, of course I have. I got to go to the bathroom. And I go to the bathroom. And I'm in there 20, 25 minutes, and I come back. I go, hey, listen, I was just, we were talking about Claude Monet, and I just wanted to say that, you know what I liked about him was his paintings. I liked the way he painted. He was a painter, and I loved how he used the paint to make paintings. And the guy goes, God damn, Norm, I've never been able to stump you in 2 years. I go, But I looked on because I like learning on my Wikipedia, and I looked because I was wondering about fame, the nature of fame, because it's changed so much, you know? And when I was young, it was one thing, and now it's a whole different thing. And I was wondering how many people have been to the moon, like have actually walked on the moon. So I looked on my magic telephone and I found out only 13 or 14 in the entire history of the world. You would think that would make you very, very famous. But no. The last guy who walked, now you'd think he would be famous for being the last guy to be on the moon. His name was Harrison Schmitt. Now, who ever heard of him? Meanwhile, he goes all the way to the moon, hangs around there for a while, and comes back. He's not famous, but a girl with a giant ass is famous. Now, when I was young, a man who went to the moon was famous. And a lady with a giant ass, you'd go, can you stand over there? Because this is... Harrison Schmitt. So how many people that went to the moon do we even know? There was, we know the first ones. There was Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. They went Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. And even the third is hard to remember. His name was Michael Collins. And Michael Collins, in one of the just most unfair jokes, I don't know what it was, he got to go all the way to the moon, but not go on the moon. All the way to the moon, and then that little rope ladder, he wasn't allowed to go down. He had to stay in the lunar capsule while Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong went on the moon. And Michael Collins just looking out the window going, are those motherfuckers golfing? Good God, they're golfing. Wait a minute, they got a dune buggy now. I was only allowed to bring so much, and they brought dune buggies. This is... I have to keep up a good face, I guess. And then Buzz and Neil, I'm sure they were nice guys. They didn't want to hurt Michael Collins, you know. So they probably went back, you know, to the lunar capsule, you know, and Michael Collins was like, what do you think, guys? What was the moon like? What was it like? And they were like, ah. It's all right if you like that kind of thing, I guess. I prefer the lunar capsule myself. I can't speak for Buzz, but I really do like the lunar capsule. Because that's what you do. You know, most of your life, is mundane. So I had to write a book, right? So it was a book about my life. So they said, you know, just write about your life. So I said, oh, thank you, yeah. Yeah, it turned out to be the greatest comic novel ever written, but when it started, it was supposed to be a memoir, you know, a autobiography. So it makes you think about, well, what is my life? So I started thinking about it, right? So I said, okay, I wake up in the morning and I eat some Count Chocula. And then
So let me say a couple of words about Norm, for God's sakes. I did feel a closeness to him because he'd been on the show so many times. A couple of times over the years, you remember when Norm was on Saturday Night Live, he used to do this Bob Dole impression, Senator Bob Dole. And a couple of times I had asked Norm, would you be willing to get in full makeup and come on and be Bob Dole? Because I always thought it was so great, his impression. And it was just funny, and he had funny lines. And Norm said, you know, it's a tremendous pain in the ass to get into that Bob Dole makeup. He said, but I love the show and I love you guys so much, I'll do it. And he would do it. And he would come in as Bob Dole, and it was always funny. And over the years, he'd come in, tell stories. And, you know, he's Norm. He's a legend. And I always thought it was a big sin that Norm got fired from Saturday Night Live. Norm was on Saturday Night Live for 5 seasons. He hosted Weekend Update for 3 years. He was great at it, you know, with that deadpan delivery. Here he is delivering a joke, doing the fake news.
And in a related story, this week marked the 5,000th performance of the Broadway musical Cats. It also marked the 5,000th time a guy turned to his wife and said, "What the hell is this?"
Norm started his career as a stand-up comedian. He appeared on The Letterman Show in 1990. He told me a great story once on the air about his dream was to appear on The Tonight Show before Johnny Carson retired.
I went to Los Angeles, California, and Johnny Carson had already announced his retirement.
Right.
And Johnny Carson, as you know, used to be able to anoint comedians. I said, I'm going to be the last comedian to be anointed by Johnny Carson.
Right.
So Jim McCauley would come to the show, you know.
He's the talent scout for The Tonight Show, yeah.
He goes, listen, you're a J comic. Because Jay Leno was doing it on Monday night. You know, he was the guest host.
Right.
So I go, no, I think I'm a Johnny comic. That's what all my friends say, you know. And he's like, no, Jay. And then he's like, if you do good on Jay, Johnny will watch at home. You know, which again, even
an audition.
Knew was a lie. I go on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. I do my set. I destroy, and then I come over and during the commercial, Jay goes, "It was all right. It went okay."
Wait a second. Did you ever get to be on the Carson Show?
I
No.
never got to meet him. I mean, I never
by
got
the
to be
way-
on his show, and then I got to meet him personally, in person.
But I could never say to another radio guy, hey, man, that was okay, your show. It was you know what I mean? Like Jay saying that.
It was just a little maybe passive-aggressive.
Jay being great again.
Yeah, it was okay. But then Norm got the gig on Saturday Night Live in 1993. One of the funny things he did was his impression of Burt Reynolds. Here's a little clip to remember Norm on Celebrity Jeopardy. He's standing there as Burt Reynolds, and he fucking looked like Burt Reynolds. It was crazy.
This condiment is made from mustard seeds. Burt Reynolds.
That's not my name.
Okay. Turd Ferguson.
Yeah, what do you want?
Let's see. Chevy Chase posted on Instagram, I first met Norm after he played the newsman on SNL. He was the best of all, next to myself. I know I'm just kidding now because I'm all teared up. But Norm was fired by Saturday Night Live because of this guy named Don Ohlmeyer. He was president of NBC's West Coast division, and Ohlmeyer was friends with O.J. Simpson, and Norm feels he got fired because he was making too many O.J. jokes.
In his book, O.J. Simpson says that he would have taken a bullet or stood in front of a train for Nicole. Man, I'm going to tell you, that is some bad luck when the one guy who would have died for you kills you. That's probably...
Great delivery. David Letterman tweeted, in every important way, in the world of stand-up, Norm was the best. An opinion shared by me and all peers. Always up to something, never certain, until his matter-of-fact delivery leveled you. I was always delighted by his bizarre mind and earnest gaze. Norm used to do a David Letterman impression on Saturday Night Live. And, you know, it was weird for Norm because you know, he loves David Letterman, so he didn't want Letterman to take it the wrong way. But I'll give you a sample of it.
It's a great cast. You got Meryl Streep, Diane Keaton. Oh, and you know who I particularly enjoyed in the film was Chong.
Yeah, he was good. He was very good.
You hear that, Paul? He enjoys Chong.
But Norm came on our show, and I was like, what happened when you did Letterman? And he told this great story.
I was like, I don't want to fucking make fun of it because I love David Letterman. You
Sure.
know? So I'm like, I'll just try to do as exact an impression as possible, but not make a comment on it, like not say, you know, not make fun of him. And shit.
You're right.
And so anyways, then he phones me like the next day, and he's like, I'm talking to him, and he's not bringing it up. You know?
Wow.
So it goes on for about 5 minutes where we're talking about nothing. So then I just blurt out, I go, hey, I did an impression of you last night.
Oh, you're kidding.
Obviously, that's why I was phoning, you know?
Right, yeah. Aye.
So then all he said was, he goes, oh, yeah, no. He goes, I don't mind it. It's all right. He goes, Joe Piscopo did an impression of me once, and I didn't care for that because that guy's not funny.
But great story. I love that Dave called him and didn't say anything. And then finally, Norm couldn't take the pressure and blurted out, I did an impression of you. Speaking of impressions, Dana Carvey did an impression of Norm for us. You also do a great Norm Macdonald.
Hey, you get Norm. You know, it's a funny thing, water, right? They bring your water here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything is like, it's like a couch here. Like you want to sleep, right? You want to lay down, right? But you know what? You're not supposed to lay down, right? But you want to lay down when you see a couch, right? You know what I mean?
He was a great force, I felt, on Saturday Night Live.
Totally.
And he was fired like with no dignity. And the guy who fired him was
Never
like,
understood it.
Norm's not funny. Norm is fucking funny.
Oh, man, he's unbelievably funny.
Adam Sandler tweeted, every one of us loved Norm. Some of the hardest laughs of my life with this man. Most fearless, funny, original guy we knew. Sarah Silverman tweeted Norm was in a comedy genre of his own. No one like him on the planet. Please do yourself a favor and watch his stuff. He was one of a kind of all time. Norm actually talked to us a little bit about his feelings on death. Whenever I'm talking with someone, I always ask them about death. Because I'm so freaked out about death.
I don't remember this.
So keep in mind that he had already secretly been fighting cancer for 4 years at this point.
I was in Edmonton in this hotel. I was doing stand-up, and my agent phoned me. He said, turn on your computer, look at your Wikipedia. And my Wikipedia said I was dead.
Oh,
great.
My Wikipedia said I had overdosed the night before. And I am telling you, Howard, even though of course, it's not true. At first you go, well, I don't know. But
it shakes you?
It shakes you. And you want to know why it shakes you?
Why?
Because you understand that one day those will be the words.
Right.
And all it is they just change the tenses. Instead of Norm Macdonald is an American comedian, it's Norm Macdonald was.
Who do you think changed it? Was it just some
Apparently, any folks can do it.
Can go on there and do
I don't
that.
know who makes them in the first place.
Do you think about death a lot? I mean, it is a freaky thing. They say most people can't spend more than like a minute or two actually contemplating their own demise.
Is that right?
Yeah, like it's almost impossible for a brain to do that.
Well, that's interesting. I guess that's why you do anything is to avoid that. That's
Right.
why you do stuff in life.
That's right.
To avoid that thought, because if well, I mean, we don't want to talk about that.
So there's Norm. Rest in peace, Norm. Conan tweeted, Conan O'Brien, of course, I am absolutely devastated about Norm Macdonald. Norm had the most unique comedic voice I have ever encountered, and he was so relentlessly and uncompromisingly funny. I will never laugh that hard again. I'm so sad for us all today because, I have watched this clip of Conan's show so many times. It was so great. Norm was a guest. And the actress Courtney Thorne-Smith, she was promoting a movie she had done with Carrot Top.
Oh, boy.
And Norm yeah, exactly. Norm just went berserk.
What's the movie going to be called? Really?
I know what it's going to be called.
Yeah, what's that?
If it's got Carrot Top in it, you know what a good name for it would be?
What's that, Norm?
Box Office Poison.
There's this movie coming out.
Yes.
Title undetermined at this point.
Chairman of the board.
Oh, all right. Do something with that, you freak.
I bet the board is spelled B-O-R-E-D.
How quick is he?
Well, that's what, another thing that Conan said about him was he was so unpredictable. There was an electricity just having him sit there. You just felt it because you didn't know what he was going to do.
He was one of the best. He really was. There's no question. And the world really lost a comedy legend yesterday.
Sarcastic, controversial, hilarious.
There are those who think Norm Macdonald isn't funny.
Let's just go on to the next question. And you're supposed to be funny. Let's get on to the next
I thought it was a matter of record.
Shut up! Shut up! Norm!
What?
Okay, listen, Norm. Norm, listen. Not only have you annoyed us.
When I was younger, I never really understood the appeal. I used to wonder, how was he showered with such unanimous praise?
That happens wherever you go, right?
Yeah, everybody yells.
Like, that guy clearly, in the best way, didn't give a f***. He really cared about people and stuff, but, like, he did what he wanted to do.
It feels like you're losing a book that nobody has copies of.
I mean, everyone from comedians to the vast majority of stand-up fans all absolutely adored the guy. But what exactly made him so unanimously loved?
Norm Macdonald, everybody!
And my God, he's certainly prolific.
I've known people for years and years that didn't make me laugh as much as he did, so he's like a real special person.
I thought about the comedy scene as it stands today. There are those who parade themselves as the leaders, those pioneering a new generation of comics, the ones fighting back against the boogeyman of cancel culture, bravely pushing truth over censorship. Yet there are times when this narrative can seem entirely self-righteous.
And it's also small, because there's so few of us. And worldwide, there's maybe 500 of us on the planet. You know, you got to be real generous and say 500 because it's really probably about 250.
Right.
But legit comics, guys you want to hang out with, guys who are fun.
Take this tweet by Whitney Cummings, which reads, "It's our job to be irreverent and dangerous, to question authority and take you through a spooky mental haunted house so you can arrive at your own conclusions." Mark Maron's response perfectly sums up what I believe the comedian's only job really is, to be funny. But who are we, right? We're the fans, we're the haters, the critics who don't understand real comedy. Or maybe it's not that. Maybe fame and wealth shines a light on who people really are.
Every time we talk about like a watch or a car, I'll get a bunch of messages from losers. You're being bitter, you're being petty, you're insecure. You only have what you have because of fans, so don't talk about us like that. Yeah, but you're still a loser. Just know that it's your mindset and you're thinking like a fucking loser.
Individuals who use cancel culture to deflect from poor moral judgment or character. When you believe yourself to be in a position of comedic or moral authority, self-awareness is often scarce.
Schultz epiphanies are my favorite.
Yo.
He repeats a statement, he's like,
That's crazy, though.
Is it safe to say that you haven't made it until you've got like highly produced, like YouTube hit piece videos made about you?
yeah, that's the move, man. It sucks. It sucks. Those videos suck.
You're convinced that the majority of criticism is cloaked in pent-up jealousy. Surely it's not my material that isn't funny. Everyone else just doesn't understand the bit.
And he goes, well, it wouldn't bother you if it wasn't true. He's like, people call you a hack. Does that bother you? I go, oh, no, absolutely not. I'm not a hack. I'm a really talented comic.
A lot of the comedians are missing the one major key that allows them to resonate with the average person, and that is humility.
I feel some comedians, their goal is to be smart. And the funny is like a collateral thing. Play the dumb guy, play the everyman. Nobody likes a guy smarter than them. But I only want to do stand-up in clubs. I do not like theaters. To me, it's a small man on a big stage, and I can't fill that space. I'm not Robin Williams, I'm not Gallagher, you know? The most important thing in live performance is interacting with the audience. I always talk to the audience now because, you know, they can see my specials, but if they see live, they want interaction.
Now, it's not all comics who develop crazy egos and begin to lecture you like they're the protagonist of stand-up.
And there's a very specific mindset that takes place. When I'm in front of the keyboard, I can just zone in on the page and I'm thinking about every word. As you're writing each individual word, you're pausing in time.
There are those who just want to laugh and tell jokes, which at its core is the whole point. Some of the best jokes are the most relatable, but as some comedians get bigger, they forget how to connect with people whose yearly income isn't in the 7 figures.
It's to make it somebody else's responsibility. I don't know, just telling somebody to do something feels so uncomfortable. What? Yeah, I know. You guys don't have to laugh. Do you pay them to? Well, they laugh when they want. What's so funny?
You like telling people what to do.
Okay, there you go.
Often changing over years to become either resentful to the craft or bitter towards the public. Then there are those who don't. Those who have maintained an honest approach to both themselves and their fans.
It's weird for me to rail against cancel culture. And I don't want to be on the other side of it where it's like, I'm a free speech guy, I'm a it's like, dude, I don't want to be involved in any of this. I just want to do comedy.
Those who have spent decades in the limelight and remained humble. Norm Macdonald is one of the best examples of this. He's always been painfully himself.
And then I got a little teary. I choked up I didn't realize I was going to choke up. And then I certainly didn't realize I was going to tell him I love him. I said, I love you. I say in truth, I love you.
There are those who say things to push back against censorship, whose speech and persona is curated to show that they're both edgy and advocates of free speech.
If I have offended anyone, and I'm sure I have, then I don't apologise for it.
Can I end my career in 8 words? What do you think? This next joke might get me cancelled.
Norm is different. He tends to say whatever's on his mind.
Oh, hey, you wouldn't believe it. Who got killed? The crocodile hunter. Please don't make me laugh at this. He was 44 years old. I'm like, that's a ripe old age for a crocodile hunter.
He's not attempting to portray an edgy vibe, he's just being Norm. Comedy, at the end of the day, is subjective. You should be able to say whatever you want, you just have to make it funny. And in true Norm fashion, he'd often do exactly that.
Oh, don't laugh at 9/11 again. I tried to tell him not to laugh. Adam. I know. I walked through blood and bones in the streets of Manhattan trying to find my brother. Jesus. Yeah, he was in northern Canada.
Now, Norm is not exempt from using shock value to get a reaction from his audience. His podcast was scattered with moments where the guest would become visibly uncomfortable.
You're doing this. This is your life. And don't call me again. I don't care about anything. You don't call me again. There's no last minute fill-in. There's nothing. Thank God we're only reaching 50 people.
Super Dave, I just wanted to tell you, Alfred the Great may well be the greatest monarch in the history of England. The worst? Richard the Goat
Here's the thing though, the guests often don't expect it. When Norm is presented with an opportunity to deviate from an expectation, he takes it.
I feel comedy is surprise, right? Of course. That's the funniest thing, something they don't expect. If all these people came to see me to laugh and then they don't, that's a big surprise.
Take the roast of Bob Saget. Everyone who came up to roast was savage and vulgar in their delivery.
Jeff Garlin is a very fat Jeff's so fat, his last comedy special was shot in IMAX.
He has 2 daughters in college and 3 girlfriends in high school.
These were personal and brutal takedowns that aimed at upsetting the targets. Norm's delivery, however, was a bit different.
She may be a vegetarian, but she's still full of baloney in my book. No, but Bob has a beautiful face, like a flower. Yeah, cauliflower.
Even when prompted by Bob Saget to do the show, it didn't feel right insulting a friend.
Because it was a roast for Bob Saget,
right?
Who's a friend of mine.
Yeah,
I guess I don't like roasts.
And although the crowd wasn't entirely on board, other comics certainly were.
I mean, what were you thinking? Because it got very popular, and everyone thought it was so it was like
they put it
was like genius.
But Norm rarely pulls punches when he feels like it's deserved. He spent 5 seasons on SNL and was the host of the famed segment The Weekend Update. His favorite topic seemed to be that of the controversial O.J. Simpson.
Police have released this sketch and would like to hear from anyone who has seen it.
This week at the O.J. Simpson trial, the infamous bloody glove was finally introduced into evidence, and O.J. didn't help his case any by blurting out, "There it is, I've been looking all over for that thing."
Now, while the audience loved it, the executives at NBC did not. So in '97 and halfway through the season, he was fired from the show. Even when discussing it on Letterman, he still made light of the whole situation.
I'm firing you there from the show. And then I said, oh, that's not good. And then I said, why is that now? And he goes, oh, you're not funny. I said, holy Lord, that's even worse news,
Instead of ranting like what was expected, he stuck to subverting the audience's expectations.
I started to think about it, and plus I drank a lot of whiskey. But then the next day I sobered up and I remembered, that I still had some whiskey left.
He rarely spoke ill of the company and the unfortunate way he was fired. And so, just a year and a half later, they let him back on, but this time as the host.
How did I go in a year and a half from being not funny enough to be even allowed in the building to being so funny that I'm now hosting the show?
Unknown to NBC at the time, Norm would use this opportunity to take every bit of frustration he had and channel it within one of the most infamous monologues in the show's history.
Then it occurred to me, I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad.
Now, not every Norm joke or delivery is as controversial as the last. Be it dirty or clean, he tends to gravitate towards what makes him laugh, trusting his own judgment without needing to pander to a narrative or expectation. One of his most famous bits was the moth joke he told on Conan.
A moth goes into a podiatrist's office, right?
You are correct.
Now, Norm is a bit of a trickster. He seems to nonsensically ramble on and on about the life of this moth.
And the moth says, what's the problem? Where do I begin, man?
His struggles and personal problems, and how its life is essentially ruined.
But I don't know. I wake up in a malaise and I walk here and there.
To the point where the crowd and even Conan is growing restless.
He says, Doc.
Then, after a full minute of rambling, comes the punchline.
You should be seeing a psychiatrist. Why on earth did you come here? And then the moth said, because the light was on.
It has absolutely nothing to do with most of the joke. Norm just thought it would be funny to bait everyone into this intense anticipation and deliver a punchline irrelevant to the entire last minute. He's a master at subverting your expectations, even to a point where, to some people, it's hard to tell when he's being serious and when he's doing a bit.
You never knew he was setting something up or not. We were just hanging out and all of a sudden it'd be like this punchline out of nowhere.
But Norm isn't just known for his comedy. He's also a deeply empathetic individual. A lot of comedians were often the class clown and used comedy to cope with the traumas of their life experience. Norm was well adept at coping with existential dread.
I've seen more sunsets than I'm going to see. Let's be honest.
Are you having a crisis about mortality and stuff?
Well,
because I've heard you've been comfort eating. That's not good.
I have had for a while. I've worried about, yes, mortality. But who hasn't, right?
This emotional turmoil, paired with decades of introspection, has given him a near unparalleled amount of wisdom.
Like my worst moments in life is when I get up late at night and go in the bathroom and turn the light on and look into my own eyes. You try to keep it at bay. You try to keep all those thoughts at bay. You don't want to get to the point where something happens and you're like, why did I spend all that time thinking about death when I had life?
Yet, it never feels like you're being lectured. He always does his best to level with you. There's examples of this wisdom scattered everywhere. Take this Twitter exchange with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil is known for being annoying and at times off-putting about his scientific knowledge, tweeting, "The universe is blind to our sorrows and indifferent to our pains," then follows it up with a snarky, "Have a nice day." And true to his nature, Norm would respond, "Neil, there is a logic flaw in your little aphorism that seems quite telling. Since you and I are part of the universe, then we would also be indifferent and uncaring. Perhaps you forgot, Neil, that we are not superior to the universe, but merely a fraction of it. Nice day, indeed." But don't take my word for it, just ask the greats.
I've looked at the tape, I'm just laughing, he hasn't done anything yet. And then Norm, how are you? He's like, bought a farm.
Yeah.
And I know immediately this is complete bullshit.
But he's got a boyish charm when he laughs at his own jokes.
Man, him laughing is amazing.
There's something just joyful about watching it.
Norm was not a perfect person, and he's been open about that time and time again.
Like one time I went to a psychiatrist because I was gambling too much, and he told me, you do that to like avoid life. And then that was my argument, was like, you live life to avoid life.
However, he never frames his habits as beneficial, but rather a cautionary tale. He knows that he's human at the end of the day, and operated with reason and an incredibly intense love. So much so that when he was dying of cancer, he kept it all a secret.
I got slightly angry because during the thing, he would set up dinners with me and he would keep canceling.
He didn't want people to know, to be pained by constant worry for his well-being.
See, in the old days, a man could just get sick and die, you know? Now, they have to wage a battle.
He opted to preserve the peace of mind for those he loved and dealt with it in silence.
He lost his battle. What a loser that guy was. Last thing he did was lose.
So when I first came across Norm Macdonald, I didn't get it. I didn't understand why so many comedians would sing his praises, why so many stand-up fans would have jumped at the chance to meet him, why a man who never hit the same mainstream success as a Dave Chappelle or Bill Burr could be so widely effective.
When my dad died, I had to do a movie with Norm, and I tried everything to get out of that movie because I was inconsolable. And I couldn't get out of it. And working with him was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It was like he was the right guy at the right time.
Did he talk to you about your dad a lot? Or what did he do?
Never came up. He just made me laugh.
Then you watch, and you listen, and you realize that Norm lived a life entirely in service of his craft and those he loved. A guy who didn't really care whether or not people liked him.
He just didn't care if he was bombing. If he thought the jokes were good, he had exactly as much fun telling them to a dead audience than to one who appreciated them. When you were watching him tell these jokes that you thought were great and no one in the room thought was good, you were on the inside with him.
Whether or not the world was really indifferent to his sorrows, whether people approved of his opinions or his lifestyle, Norm just wanted to do comedy. And if you ask those he loves and who loved him, they'll tell you he was one of the best there ever was.
Hi guys, let's check out Norm Macdonald's funniest moments of all time.
This year he says he's only going to eat meat that he's actually killed. And I was wondering, what are you adhering to lately?
I'm a vegetarian, a strict vegetarian.
No, have you done that?
Well, I eat chicken.
What's not all that?
That's not vegetarian.
I'm not. I said I'm not strict. I eat chicken and
steaks.
Beef.
Then what are you strict about?
Raw game. Did you ever eat? It's not dead yet.
No, you're over
you
there.
eat
Alive?
it, and as you're eating it, their death throes are making you hungrier.
There's nothing.
That's better than a soybean.
Yeah, you're right.
Which sounds better, that or soybean?
Listen.
According to retailers, the most popular Halloween mask this year is O.J. Simpson. And the most popular Halloween greeting is, I'll kill you and that guy who's bringing over your glasses, or treat. This week on Larry King Live, Marlon Brando made the shocking statement that Hollywood is, quote, run by Jews.
That's shocking.
In response, outraged Jewish organizations made it snow in New York in April.
Okay, I just want to laugh. I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to have fun. Let's go.
See, I think we should get the homicide out of the White House and get like a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers.
I think we should just go on to the next question.
Oh.
Murderers. Yeah.
Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Yeah, you know, we're not allowed to. You're not
Bro,
allowed
the
to put
view
no
is so
accusations
old.
without
That's a little
Darling.
too far.
That's the way it doesn't work.
Let's just go on to the next question.
Yeah.
This is not my week. What can I tell you?
Oh
it's
my
not
God,
mine either,
that's
and I'm being
brutal.
very nice, okay?
Sure
Be
you
a
are.
good boy. Now, Norm.
Do you never hear that?
No. Listen,
No,
we don't need
I
to
don't want
talk
to get
about
into
that.
this, and I don't want to hear it.
Oh my God, I love that he is like brutally honest there. And like, his balls are huge. Like, not literally, metaphorically speaking. Actually talking about it, he's not moving on.
And this is not the place to make those accusations. And you're supposed to be funny. Let's get on to the next question. So get with it.
There you go.
This is a live show.
Why? Norm, but you have been properly chastised by Barbara. So I'm now going to ask the next question.
I thought it was a matter of record.
Shut up. Look,
Okay.
let me do this, okay?
I'll tell you what's a matter of record. You will not be invited back if you don't shut up. All right, now.
As if he cares.
You've admitted that you're lazy.
Oh,
I
he's
think
back.
you've read 6 books in your life.
I've read 6.
6. What kind of a woman would be attracted to you, do you think?
What? Women don't care how many books you read. That doesn't prove anything.
I have a lot of money. Hey, for the 9th consecutive year, Nick, JetBlue Airlines ranked first for satisfaction among all North American airlines. But you know what ranked least in satisfaction? 9/11 Airlines. What a terrible name for an airline. It reminds me of that tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 9/11.
Only you.
Yeah, don't laugh at 9/11 again. 9/11.
I don't think they're laughing about the tragedy. It's just like the joke, right? Like there are some jokes about it. Like I know. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's dark humor.
I tried to tell him not to laugh. I know. I walked through blood and bones in the streets of Manhattan trying to find my brother.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was in northern Canada.
Here we see the president and the first bitch. Hey, slow down, you bitch. Let me catch up.
When I accepted the honor of performing here tonight, one thought crossed my mind, and that was, please, God, don't let me bomb in front of the president. But I'm not worried. What the hell do I care? You know, I worked on all my jokes. I got a lot of help from my joke writer, Don Imus. He was helped me a lot. Are you familiar?
Who's that? No, I'm
You know
not.
this guy? He's a funny guy. He wrote some jokes.
Was he like a terrorist or something?
Anyways, the dinner was great. You enjoyed the dinner? We had some salmon. Yeah, it was delicious. It was great, and I thought it was refreshing to see Democrats serve something other than subpoenas for a change. I thought that was nice, you know? I'll be doing some jokes later. I just thought I'd...
Oh, wow. Like, why do people care? Like, why are we not laughing about it? Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, so serious. It's not funny, man. Ugh. Boring people.
Well, one time I was on his other show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And
I like his hat.
the celebrity who wants to be a millionaire, so the questions are a little easier.
Yeah, you won. Wow, because celebrities are dumb?
I heard they didn't give you the money.
Yeah. No, they give it to a charity. They don't tell you.
That's
No, they give it to sick children.
Oh, that's nice.
How
that's
dare
nice.
you?
They need money too.
Are you drunk?
Do they not know who they invited?
Cooler and you're sweating.
I am. Well, it's hot it's hotter than a $2
Well, he's
pistol
got like
in here.
12 layers on,
Yeah,
I think.
I thought it was going to be really cold.
Well, you're from Canada. This should be springtime for you.
No, I know I'm from Canada, but I'm still a human being like you. It's not like we evolved differently. I'm from the frozen north.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets colder than It gets colder than a...
Oh, here it comes.
Get your finger on the panic button.
No, it gets colder than a vampire's demeanor.
Okay, that's better.
Wow.
He tried to take it easy.
What are you guys up to, man?
We're joined by the talented trio called the Lonely Island.
Yeah,
who
you know
will be
what I
on the
call
big...
them?
What do you call them?
I call them Sandberg and the other couple of fellows.
The Mind Squad
Wow.
is how Rolling Stones
Kinda.
The iron
Kinda. Like, we only know one of them.
of broadcasting.
It's iron. You don't pronounce it iron.
That's what everybody tells me.
It's the iron horse. Like Lou Gehrig was the iron horse of baseball.
Yes.
The word I-R-O-N is iron. No, iron.
Iron.
That's what makes English the world's toughest language.
Yeah.
You know, right? Sure.
It is the
Because
toughest
toughest
language.
language.
Why?
It's the easiest.
Yeah. Well,
Are you kidding me? English is the toughest language? Bro, come on. Have you tried to learn German? Have you tried to learn Balkan or Arabic? Those are actually the languages I know. And like, if I compare them to English, I think I don't know German, I'm learning, but it's harder. It's definitely harder to learn those languages. For me, at least.
yeah, well, you were born with it.
You were born with...
In
I
his
wasn't,
book,
and I still...
O.J. Simpson says that he would have taken a bullet or stood in front of a train for Nicole. Man, I'm going to tell you, that is some bad luck when the one guy who would have died for you kills you. That's probably...
The accusation is
You don't
throwing
get worse
left
luck
and
than
right.
that.
You know about this girl? She's mad at you. She was on the Greg Fitzsimmons show. Did you hear anything about this?
I know Greg Fitzsimmons.
Yeah, Greg does a show for us, and Greg was interviewing some girl, and she was going off.
I know who it is.
What's the girl's name?
You know, me and Norm have worked with her before. That's why he's going to laugh when I say the name. Laura Keitling hates your guts.
Did you know she hates you?
No.
Oh my God! Do you want to hear the
Shit,
clip?
did they just say that?
All right, hold on.
By the way, wait, can I interrupt your old friend Norm Macdonald? Did you guys write together on? He's not a friend of mine.
Roseanne, right?
Well, I was just using it loosely.
Now, you had a
Oh,
reaction
boy,
just
not a
now to
friend
Norm
at all.
Macdonald. Not a friend, not a fan.
You worked with him though.
At Saturday Night Live.
Roseanne.
No, I missed him at Roseanne. Well, I came in and he was supposed to be the my guide through SNL, and it turned out that.
Well, I mean, I barely remember Laura from the show, except for her hit characters, obviously.
I don't even know who she is.
But
She's very talented.
she makes Morweena Banks look like Gilda Radner. But no.
You had a look of surprise on your face, even when this woman said, well, you know, Norm was supposed to be my guide through Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, guide?
Did anyone
What do you mean?
inform you that you were her guide?
No.
There was no such mentoring program at Saturday Night Live, was it?
No, she came in directly after me, so I wouldn't be her
mentor.
Yeah, I'm not going to guide any lady through comedy. That would take me, first of all, I'd have to figure out how a lady could do comedy.
Really? You think women can be funny? Well, some people say I'm funny. I'm not a comedian. They say that I'm funny. So.
And then I'd have to... The new people. Hey, guess what? There's a young girl that's middling attractive that swears a lot. Let's get her. What? Is that the new fucking thing?
Yeah.
Sarah Silverman, hysterical.
Right.
Who's funnier than her?
Nobody.
No,
Who's funnier
except
than Sarah?
dudes,
Nobody.
But who's funnier than her?
Nobody.
No, except dudes. But,
And people had very strong opinions on the election. You know, some people had very strong opinions one way, and other people had strong opinions the other way. And
Oh shit, Charlotte.
I didn't have any opinions at all.
I just came for the
I
food.
don't have really any opinions on anything. Like, you ever watch the CNN, and they'll have the polls, you know, and it'll be like, what do you think about embryonic stem cell research? And then it'll be like, see, there you go. It'll be like 52% yes, 46% no, 6% I don't know.
The
See?
mathin'.
And that's me. I don't know.
Nice math.
So I phone up the CNN, you know, and I go, hey, listen, is this the TV? Yeah, that question you asked about the embryonic stem cell research? I don't know.
And there's
Exactly.
Charles Woodson. How about that?
Like, how do they know about the people who don't know? Like, did they actually talk to every, like, percentage of humans, like 100% ask, and they'll be like, okay, that's the I don't know. Like, how do they make that?
And there's Charles Woodson. How about that? And what a season he had.
great, man. He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. And congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case...
Oh, man. OG again. Don't zoom in on other people, bro.
It's a word of advice.
It's like when you zoom in on other people, unless you kill your wife, and then they zoom in on you. Bro, what are you doing? That's like the cameraman did that other guy. So dirty. All right, guys. We are going to end up here. Let me know if you want part 2 by liking this video. This was like really entertaining, by the way. He is brutal. Sheesh. I think this guy hates everybody except another man. Actually, maybe not really. That is it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching and see you next time. Bye.
Norm Macdonald was the funniest man to ever live. That's something they could never take away from him.
Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case...
Alright, that's enough. Throughout Norm's long and distinguished comedy career, we only ever got 2-hour-long stand-up comedy specials, one called Me Doing Stand-Up, and the other, Hitler's Dog, Gossip and Trickery. Today we will be reviewing the latter and taking a closer look at Norm's Netflix comedy special, Hitler's Dog, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on it and whether or not I think it's good, bad, or somewhere in between. That being said, it is a Norm Macdonald special, so I think a lot of you already know where this one is going. So if all of that sounds interesting to you, then let's hop right into it. To begin with, I hadn't watched this special in a really long time, and rewatching it several years later, it actually surprised me a lot. I used to think that Me Doing Stand-Up was the clear winner between the two, but Hitler's Dog has a lot of classic bits that are just so simple and unique, while also being brilliantly grim and deep. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and hop into the content of the special. The special begins with a shot of Norm walking through a park on a sidewalk, and while we see this nice B-roll footage, we hear Norm deliver the punchline to his classic bit about Bill Cosby being a hypocrite.
God damn, at least he's not a hypocrite. That's the worst. That's the worst part of it.
This is almost a subtle nod to Norm's diehard fans because he didn't even have to include the setup of the joke in there because Norm knows that we already know it. It's a great bit to start the special on, and then we see Norm transition into a bit about eating a pork chop and differences that exist when we eat at home versus when we eat at a restaurant. This is a bit we have seen on Letterman before, but it's nice to see the extended version of it in the special where it eventually goes into the way waiters talk to you when you're ordering dessert. Very funny stuff. One thing I noticed early in this hour and really appreciated about Norm's stand-up bits is how he takes his word choice into very careful consideration when doing the bits. It's apparent that Norm has worked very hard to select the funniest possible words for his audience. You guys might be thinking I'm overanalyzing this, and you may be right, but let me cook for a second. A lot of the words Norm uses have much harder consonants than other words.
Say, man, I'm gonna make myself a pork chop, cook it up till it's hot on one side, then turn it over, hot on the other side, cook it, and then cut into it a little bit, see how it's going in the middle. Guy comes, he's got a big tray. Oh, yeah. He had a canted angle, every confection known to man. Sure. Suddenly, his tone changes. It's not like the pork chop anymore. Some kind of sexual undertones going on.
A lot of comedians have talked about how words with the p, t, or k sound are funnier than words without them. Gary Goldman has even tweeted about this in his Comedy Tips series about how there's something prehistoric in our brains that make us laugh when we hear a certain sound or certain words. Norm definitely seems aware of this throughout the entire special, and he does not disappoint. The jokes themselves are super funny, don't get me wrong, but when you also use the funniest words when constructing the jokes, and you own a doghouse, there's just no way the audience isn't gonna love you. Anyway, let's get back into the content of the special. Norm's bit about the desserts at the restaurant gets really silly, and we get one of my favorite Normisms when he does the
you like this?
This will always crack me the fuck up no matter what context it's in. Then we see Norm do a silly bit about sex and how it's not interesting to him anymore, which then naturally transitions right into this bit about Abraham Lincoln saying score and George Washington's famous story about chopping down a cherry tree. The greater point of the joke ends up having nothing to do with George Washington at all, rather how fucking mortifying it would be if you were incapable of telling anybody a lie. You can genuinely hear in Norm's voice how troubling this topic is to him, and it ends up being a great little non sequitur. I really like these jokes. Bits like this and other ones we will get into lead me to believe that only Norm could pull them off. If Norm was in a writer's room and gave this to even the most elite comedians working today like Joe Rogan, Brendan Schaub, or Bert Kreischer, I really think they would struggle to make these jokes as funny as Norm. Okay, that was a joke, but seriously, Norm has this habit of lingering on jokes for a while and not being as concise as he could be, but it works especially well for him and his style. In fact, it's what a lot of people love him for, is his irreverence towards the rules of brevity. This isn't to say Norm can't have great one-liners. He does. Everyone who has watched him for a while knows he can come up with great lines on the spot as well. It's just that he finds a way to stretch these bits, waste your time, but make you happy while he's doing it. Once Norm has the skeleton of the joke compartmentalized, he just plays around with it, and he's so naturally funny that this really works in his favor. That's why I think most comedians working today, even if they were high-level comics, could not pull off what Norm does. Another thing Norm does tremendously well in his stand-up is cloaking his segues and really making it seem like a big, long stream of consciousness.
There's a real stream of consciousness thing happening here, Norm.
Yeah, it's called conversation.
Well, I guess it's more of a conversation, really. But Norm exemplifies high-level segues, making the entire specially incredibly easy to watch. Then we see a few jokes about why Norm doesn't like to go to parties because he feels like he's too dumb and doesn't have any strong opinions to tell anybody about, which is rich when you consider the fact that he graduated from high school at like 14 years old and was enrolled in university around 15 or 16 years old. I really like this joke about the triangular Cuban sandwiches because it really does remind me of how good these fucking sandwiches are for some reason. My family around the holiday season always buys these Cubans from a local sandwich shop, and good God almighty are they delicious. Norm is definitely onto something with this one. Moving on, several bits from this special we had seen in Norm's last Letterman set, or just a Letterman interview in general, like the next one we saw about him doing LSD and being disappointed that he didn't have a flashback like he was promised by his drug dealer. I think Bill Maher would be very proud of Norm for taking a stand against the big acid companies and voicing his issues with them on a billion-dollar platform like Netflix. Very cool of Norm to pretend to be a smart guy like Bill for this one joke. By this point in the special, we are about a quarter of the way through, and already I'm flabbergasted by how funny the special is. I really took it for granted the first time I watched it, but upon rewatching, I'm realizing just how clever, simple, but unique all of Norm's premises are. Furthermore, we would then see Norm get into this monstrosity of a bit that starts off with him talking to a vegetarian and realizing he's wrong morally, but this quickly escalates into his belief that if you woke up one day and realized you were wrong about everything, that you should hang yourself. He also has a throwaway observation that's so cartoonishly stupid you can't help but laugh your ass off. Norm says it's no coincidence that the rope store and the rickety stool store are always built right next to each other. Just a completely fake observation. This is one small detail that is a cherry on top of such an excellently written bit. Then we see Norm make a salient point about how a lot of people question the motive of people who commit suicide and pretend like they don't understand it, even though the reason why they're doing it appears to most people as glaringly obvious.
People commit. People go, I don't understand why, and I go, you don't? Well, you live in a cotton candy house or something? What the fuck? You don't know about life? How it only disappoints and gets worse and worse until it ends in a catastrophe? What the fuck?
This is so twisted and morbid, but absolutely side-splitting. Then Norm takes it into a bit about autoerotic asphyxiation, which ends up being great. As aforementioned, the escalation from veganism into this bit about autoerotic asphyxiation is so gradual and natural that you really don't even notice it happening right before your eyes. Incredibly well done. A lot of people think Norm is funny, but really don't give his stand-up the respect it deserves. This is why I believe that George Carlin notably praised Norm in the 90s for his stand-up comedy, and Norm's ability to deliver this left-field style of observational comedy consistently throughout his act. Even if you don't think George was the funniest comedian in the latter half of his career, the dude knew what he was talking about when it came to praising funny people and giving them their flowers. Right after this bit about suicide, Norm follows it up with this dark but silly bit about what happens directly after you died. The delivery of this absurd joke all the way to the end is world-class and vintage Norm Macdonald. Then we see several more bits about suicide that are all pretty funny, and then this transitions nicely into Norm's bit about Las Vegas and the classic saying of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. This is one we've seen Norm do for years, and he really expands on it in a way that he didn't initially on Late Show with David Letterman. There's an extra funny punchline that he obviously could not have said on TV, and it's a great incentive to watch the special if you haven't already. As much as I love the bit from the special though, it really doesn't feel the same without David Letterman cackling in the background.
You probably think of him as some that likes to bite the heads off of chickens, but this guy can...
Then Norm dives into the topic of smartphones and discusses the differences between taking pictures nowadays and pictures just 1 or 2 generations ago. The line, "Who's gonna feed them hogs?" lives rent-free in my head and probably always will after watching this special and Norm's last Letterman set.
Who's gonna feed the hogs?
Then we see Norm do a bit about Wikipedia, which happens to have one of the most noteworthy jokes in the entire special, in my opinion. My friend and I have talked about Norm's Claude Monet joke a lot because it's a massive subversion that you would never expect. When Norm says to his friend he's going to the bathroom to look at Claude Monet and he comes back after a half hour of looking and he just says he liked his paintings, that's fucking wild. He doesn't go any deeper than this, and the guy asking Norm about him fucking believes it. Most misdirection jokes are relatively simple, but Norm took this one so much further than necessary just because he felt like it. Fucking legend. Then Norm discusses the nature of fame and how it has changed by comparing the first people to go on the moon to Instagram booty models. And then Norm highlights the absurdity of what happened with the first spaceship to the moon and how Harrison Schmitt was not allowed to even leave the lunar capsule. Then we get to probably my favorite joke of the entire special when Norm talks about metaphors and how he appreciates metaphors where they are figuratively true while also being literally true. Incredibly grim, but so fucking funny, dude. I love this joke because of its simplicity, as well as Norm giving his sincere thoughts on what makes somebody beautiful. That was a nice touch. Then we see several more jokes about leading causes of death in America, teachers being the real heroes, and how the best time in Norm's life was the time before school when it was just pure and blissful. Then we hear Norm's classic bit about how the only country he's scared of is Germany on account of them declaring war on the world, and after this we hear the joke about the $6 million man. I will say this was the only bit that didn't strongly resonate with me. It definitely isn't Norm's fault he lost me. It's just because I'm not super well read on the content of the show and the commercial. He also talks about a few other commercials, the reverse mortgage, and then the 10 commandments of the scriptures. And then Norm ends the special with his bit that the title is referencing about Hitler's dog and how a dog's love is so pure and unconditional that even a man as evil as Hitler could be loved by one. A great closing bit for the special. All in all, I think for Norm's last comedy special released while he was still alive, this was an absolute heater. I think of the two, I still prefer me doing stand-up, but if it was a roll of the dice which comedy special I ended up watching, I would be just fine with either of these. I don't watch as many comedy specials anymore, but I'm happy I rewatched this one to make this video. I think Hitler's Dog is a deep look into the topics of Norm's mind while he was battling cancer with a beautiful cocktail of grimness, self-reflection, sincerity, and of course, humor. If you haven't seen the special, I'd recommend giving it a watch. If you're a fan of Norm, then you'd love it, and if you're not a super big fan of Norm, I think Hitler's Dog might change your mind on how good Norm is. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hype the video to help more people see it, and comment your thoughts on this special down below. If you want more content from me, click the link on your screen to check out my last video where I compiled 30 minutes of Norm Macdonald brutally roasting people throughout his entire career. I know you'll love the video, so click the link to check that out now. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and God bless.
Now listen, man, I like the news. You guys like the news? I always watch the news, and I'll tell you something about the news. I don't understand it. But it's for some reason I watch it. I don't even know why, but I think I'm supposed to or something. So I'll watch it, and then the guy will come on and he'll go, anyways, today the deficit. And then I'll go, I've heard that word. And the guy goes, today the Dow Jones NASDAQ Composite Index is down. And then I go, that's not good. Down. Up. I like when it's up. That's my opinion on the... Seems like there's too much news, like, you know, because now they have 24-hour news. Now, when I was a young boy, the news was half an hour. That was the whole news, you know. And a guy would come on and he'd have a tie, you know, and shit, and he would say the news. And it was a half an hour long. Now, it's 24 hours long. Now, it turns out that back in the old days when it was only half an hour, they had it about right. That's about all the news there is. Even then, there'd always be like a story, some fucking story at the end about a caribou or some horse shit. So there wasn't even enough to fill the half an hour. But 24 hours, way too long. So they have to keep repeating stories all the time and everything, and they'll make up stories, you know. They do that a lot, make up things that aren't really news stories, but they have to, you know, fill the 24 hours, you know. And the one I noticed that they make up a lot This is the latest one I've seen. I see this all the time on the news. The newsman will come on, he'll go, good evening, everybody. This is the newsman. Whatever he says, he's not going to say that. And then he goes, our top story tonight, a lady has vanished. That's the story. And then he goes, let's go outside where there's another guy. So then they cut to outside. And then there's a guy outside, and he's like, hey, listen, how's it going inside? We're outside, and we found out about this lady that vanished. Her name was Janice, and they found her car here in the Taco Bell parking lot. And don't worry about the car, it's fine. But can't find hiding her hair of the lady. Well, back to you. So then you're watching, you go, well, I don't give a fuck on account I never knew Janice in the first place. Matter of fact, I'm kind of happy it's Janice and not somebody I know. But then what they do is they start telling you about Janice, you know? And they go, hey, we found out some cool things about Janice. And you're like, no, that's cool, I don't want to hear it. They go, no, you want to hear it. They can't help themselves. So they go, let's go back to Bill. He's still outside. And how's it going, Bill? And Bill's like, it's all right. It's no inside, but it's cool. And anyways, we found out about Janice. Turns out she's a good lady. And we found some friends of hers, and here they are. And then sure enough, they show a lady, and it says, friend of Janice. And she says, I'll tell you something about Janice. You want to hear about Janice? Janice is the type of lady that you could always turn to. You know, you ever want to turn to somebody? Like if you got a problem or something, and you feel like you want to turn? Ever do that? Or maybe your neck just hurts and you want to anyways. The point of it is that once you swiveled your head over this way, the person you'd most want to see in your eye line would be Janice. And then they have another friend of Janice that wasn't the first one. And she'll go, I'll tell you, Janice, oh my God. She was the type of lady that she could walk into a room and light up the whole room, you know? And she didn't have a fucking lighter, not like that. She would just somehow, through sheer tyranny of will, she could somehow illuminate a room. I don't know. And that would be Janice's third friend lady that's not one of the earlier two. And then she goes, I'll tell you about Janice. Is that who you're asking me about, Janice? Janice was the type of lady that you could be talking to your best friend in the whole world, and then Janice come in and you go, fuck you, I'm talking to Janice. Because Janice is better than you. Come on, let's face it. She's better than all of us. So anyways, then you're at home and you start liking Janice, you know what I mean? You start getting invested in her, you go, God damn, that Janice is a cool lady. I would like to meet her one day. That would be a lot of, fuck, I forgot she vanished. Just my luck. They'll find her. Then you get hope. That's not good. I don't give a fuck what Obama says. Hope is never good. Don't try it. It never works out. So you go, oh man, they'll find Janice. They're putting pictures up of her on telephone poles. I think that had worked once. And then the news keeps showing you more things about Janice, you know? And they'll show you like the home videos of her. You're like, God damn, look at that. She's eating a pizza. I like her hair like that. They'll find her. And then you become obsessed with Janice. It's all you can think of, you know? You're at work, fucking just can't wait to get home, agonizing over Janice, you know, thinking about her with eating pizza and shit. And then you go home, and your nights are just fevered dreams of, you know, Janice and bangs and shit like that. And all you can do is turn on the TV and hope, and you know, and then one day, you know, they go, hey, more news on Janice. Here's the Bill, he's still outside. And then Bill is like outside, and he's like, here we are. Where, as you can see behind me, they are scouring the woods. They're still searching for Janice, you know? And then you go, oh, fuck, not the woods. You know, that's not... Nothing good ever happens in the woods. I've seen enough of these fucking stories to know that Janice ain't coming bounding out of the woods anytime soon. That's it. It's like, hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm just taking a stroll through the woods. What are you taking my picture for? I just take a stroll through the scraggly woods. Now, if they find you in the woods, they always find you in the same place. Every time, they will find you in a shallow grave. I don't know why they don't just look there in the first place. If I was the police chief, I'd go, listen, I want every shallow grave in the vicinity checked out. I want to clear out this case by Tuesday on account of I'm running for DA or whatever. But doesn't shallow grave seem a mite rash? You know, like these serial killers are supposed to be so shrewd and cunning and everything, you know? At least according to the TV movies I've seen. And but then when it comes time for the grave, they get a little hasty, you know? Well, there you go, 3 twigs and a leaf. That ought to do it. That doesn't look like Janice anymore. I don't recall Janice ever wearing 3 leaves and a twig. Oh, well. Guess I'll go home and await the authorities now. You gotta prepare these things, you know? You gotta be a little smarter than that. You know, what I would do, and I would never, ever kill a lady in cold blood. I know I say that now. I don't really know. I can't predict the future, but I don't believe I know there's no river long enough doesn't contain a bend, but I believe that right now, and it might just be vanity, I don't think I would kill a woman in cold blood. But if I did, I would plan it out very carefully, you know, because there's a lot at stake. You know, you think about it, you probably, you know, probably lose your job. I don't know what happens. That's a blemish on the old CV, you know? Even in today's enlightened society, there remains a stigma to being a psychosexual sadist. But what I would do is I would look at the lady, I would select a lady, and then I would follow her habits. You understand what I'm saying? Like I would watch her very carefully, you know? And I go, hey, I notice that every day she goes to that cheese sandwich shop, and then she comes out with a little paper bag. I'll bet you anything there's a cheese sandwiches in there. You know? So then I'd keep that in my head, you understand? Then I'd say, hey, I notice every Wednesday evening she goes with her other lady friends and they go down to the YWCA and they play basketball with each other, which is fine nowadays, you know? So what I would do is on Wednesday I would go down to the YWCA and what would I be holding in my right hand in the parking lot but a cheese sandwich. So then she would eventually come out of the YWCA, you know, all sweaty with her, you know, her ridiculous 3-colored ball and everything there, you know. And I'd be standing there. And then she'd go, hey, what's in your right hand? And I'd go, nothing. I'd be coy, you know. And she'd go, there's something in your right hand. I'd go, listen, lady, who knows more about what's in their right hand? You or me? I believe, oh, this. Now, this is just a cheese sandwich. Why, you like them or something? I got a whole fucking van full of them over there. Right over there. Yeah, that craziest looking fucking van you ever saw? That's filled with cheese sandwiches. You don't have to have cheese sandwiches in the van, by the way. If you're, unless you want to be known for your detailed work, it's not really necessary. Then I would get the lady in the van and I would drive her to a remote area, an area most known for its remoteness. That's what I would look for. And anyways, I'd take her to the remote area where I'd constructed a shed, and then I would get her in there and I would do that thing that makes me feel like God. And then her screams would just bounce off the walls and echo out into nowhere and never touch the ear of civilized man again. And then I would take her body to the woods and bury her in a very, very, very deep grave.
I have to bring up, I can't go anywhere in this world without people stopping me and saying, I'm sorry about Norm Macdonald. And I always think in those moments, because he had so many amazing appearances on my show, and I think, well, the person who really needs to be hearing this is Jim Downey, because you were the one that pretty much holed up with Norm. You identified Norm as a brilliant guy very quickly. You wanted him to do Update, and then you and Norm really crafted that Update, which has become, I think, the iconic performance recognized today as the iconic performance on Update of all time. Norm, you were working with Norm, and there's a quote here I just want to read back to you. What I did like about the way we approached Update was that it was akin to the punk movement, what the punk movement was for music, just stripped down. We did what we wanted. There was nothing there that was considered to be a form of cheating. We weren't cuddly. We weren't adorable. We weren't warm. We weren't going to do easy political jokes that played for clapter and let the audience know we were all on the same side. We were going to be mean and, to an extent, anarchists. And I think that's a perfect distillation of what
I don't know where I said that, but it's
Norm
basically, the thing with Norm, there were so many, first of all, he was really, really smart.
Mm-hmm.
He was very intelligent, and he had a great look. I always said about our Update, if you watched it with the sound off,
mm-hmm.
you couldn't be sure you were watching a comedy broadcast. It could have just been a sort of a low-tech news show,
Mm-hmm.
like OAN Network or something. It could have been, you know, and it didn't have like a lot of goofy kind of stuff.
Yep.
And Norm could speak. You could write fairly complicated jokes for him, as long as you had a good writer, good editor, making sure that it wasn't, you didn't give him too many words, because anyone's going to trip over if you create like a little minefield. But Norm could speak. He could speak beautifully. He could land things. He was clipped and precise. His older brother, Neil, is a CBC newscaster. Yeah. And so Norm had what we call the perfect straight line going for in terms of his look. And he just had a great sensibility. Also, he hated easy laughs, and what my colleague Seth Meyers, he coined the term clapter. I think he did. Always give him credit.
It was either him or Tina Fey. I can't remember. I hear different people. Or Oppenheimer. One of them came up with it.
But clapter is a perfect thing for that kind of like lazy, just finger in the wind kind of, sucking up to the audience.
Trump sucks.
Yeah.
And then you get applause.
We might even agree with that politically, but come on, they deserve more than that kind of shit. So just challenge them with stuff, even if it's going to maybe make them uncomfortable. Like, oh, I don't like laughing at that, but that's fucking funny, so I'm going to have to laugh, know?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to think of examples of what I'm talking about, but we would do, and of course the OJ jokes.
Well, here's the thing.
Were a huge part of that.
So the OJ trial happens, and OJ, the murders, and then the trial, and it's and this is where I really thought you and Norm Macdonald seize that moment, because you can have the right tool, but if you don't have the right moment, you don't have it. And I always think in any great movement, whether it's the Beatles in 64 or Sex Pistols in 76, you have to have the moment too. You just can't have, the two have to come together. The OJ trial happens and you and Norm are writing these jokes that are so fucking fantastic. They're just razor blades. And Norm is the perfect person to deliver them. There's one you wrote, which I could try and do, but you might remember it exactly. But it's a picture came up of Johnny Cochran testifying.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
And OJ sitting next to him, and Cochran standing there, and he's holding the knit cap.
The knit cap.
The knit cap that was found at the scene. And Norm, in his Norm-esque way, says, "Well, you know, the defense had a bit of a bad day today at the defense trial when Johnny Cochran testified and held up the knit cap that was found at the scene of the murder. He was going on about the knit cap when suddenly he was interrupted by OJ, who said, 'Hey, easy with that. That's my lucky stabbing cap.'"
Yeah.
And I remembered that being an ice bullet that went through my heart. It was so. Yeah,
that's my lucky stabbing hat.
Yeah, it's my lucky stabbing hat. And the thing is, and you know this too, he would say something like that, and I don't know where my camera is. It's there, I guess. "That's my lucky stabbing hat." And he would hold in this way that nobody does. Hold and hold and hold. And he would do it for a joke that killed, as that one did, but he'd also do it for a joke that he liked, or that you liked, or that you guys liked.
Yeah.
And if it got nothing,
it was like, it wasn't, some people said, "You're punishing the audience for not liking the joke." No, we're giving them enough time to appreciate it. But you know, it's funny you mentioned I decided years later, because you have to have distance on this stuff to realize that a lot of, there was a through line to our OJ jokes, which was him, it was all cell phone stuff.
Yeah.
So that the standard OJ joke would be, so it would like that one you just did. I think the way we got into it was like, though OJ may not have helped his case when he blurted out.
Yeah.
You know,
of course.
hey, easy with that. That's my lucky stabbing hat. But there was one that was like, was O.J. Simpson high on drugs the night of the murders? Absolutely not, says a defiant O.J. And a simple test of any of his blood found at the crime scene will prove it. You know, and then there was one like
indignation.
Indignation
is so good.
There was one. When like O.J. Simpson had been criticized because the first Mother's Day after the murders, he played golf in Scotland.
Yeah.
And it's like this weekend, O.J. Simpson playing golf in Scotland was heavily criticized for missing the first Mother's Day and not spending the first Mother's Day since Nicole Brown Simpson's murder with his children. And angry Simpson responded, "Idiots, I didn't spend Mother's Day with my kids because I killed their mother." And so it's basically, but there was one, there was one joke, and by the way, it was Frank Sebastiano and Frank wrote a lot of great jokes for that segment, and he's the guy who contributed this joke structure. It'd be like several Navy warships have joined the search for an overturned thing in some of the most shark-infested waters on Earth. Also joining the search, the sharks.
Yeah,
and became like a
there's a one that I remembered, which is the rock group Better Than Ezra, or pop group Ezra. Better Than Ezra came in second, whatever.
This week Rolling Stone released its list of the top 10 college acts on the summer tour. At number 1, Better Than Ezra. Number 2, Ezra.
He also had one that was we could do these forever, but he was talking about kickboxing. And he was just like, you know, and he's doing update. And he said, of course, popular is kickboxing, an incredible martial art that combines whatever, the art of like punching, the martial arts of punching, karate with kicking. And he just stares. And, you know, because kicking on its own sounds like such a lame.
There were two more I wanted to bring up because I was Norm and I would spend like insane amounts of time obsessing over the precise wording of a joke.
Yeah.
And I remember there was one that I thought actually benefited from our kind of neurotic attention to detail. But it started off as a joke about Penthouse magazine had this cover story, which even if you didn't read Penthouse, you would see the cover on newsstands. And it was, you know, this week, shocking photos, alien autopsy. Mm-hmm. This is Penthouse magazine. So they claim to be actual photos of an alien autopsy. So the joke we started out with, which I think would have been good enough, was this week Penthouse magazine released its much awaited photos of an alien autopsy. According to those who've seen the issue, the photos were sharp, clear, and easy to masturbate to. And so anyway, then I thought, like, you know what? That can be better. There's a better rhythm to that. So I first suggested that it should be, and quote, easy to masturbate to, because I just liked it for rhythm. And then I came up with one of my greatest contributions of the season, which was I added the word surprisingly, so that the joke became kind of different. So it was like, according to those who've seen the advanced copies, the photos are sharp, clear, and quote, surprisingly easy to masturbate to. You got this image of a guy going, you know, at first I didn't think this would work, but God damn it, this is fucking hot.
I've just been riding my bike. It's been pretty sweet. Riding my bike in New York is amazing, too, because you ride it on the West Side bike path. I passed this guy, and all of a sudden he went, way to go, fat ass. Like, yeah, I'm on drugs. It's for my prostate.
Do you really ride your bike around the city?
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah,
you're a madman.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's the greatest way to get around. All of a sudden people think, no, that couldn't be Mork. No.
Have you seen they have the new bikes.
That you can rent?
The city bikes you can rent, but it's people like from Belgium that don't know the city and they don't have helmets and they're just like...
Yeah, they're like, okay, we're going to go out now. Here we go. And New Yorkers are going, get the off that bike.
But I'm amazed that no one has been hurt.
They're doing wonderfully. That really is this thing. It works itself out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you see them and it's like, all of a sudden even angels are flying behind them going, please be careful. But it's very sweet. You're right. It is basically Europeans going, how do I get downtown? Follow the numbers. The numbers get lower. Okay. And then where are you? The next stop, you go, where are you? Brooklyn. Welcome. But you're right. No helmets. There should be a little hand that says some sort of safety device.
Bubble wrap or something,
yeah, just
man,
like a small, just a little, like maybe a condom, something fun.
But don't you think for New Yorkers, they're just thinking like, it's so hard every day not to just go like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I ride my bike in L.A., and that's where it really gets kind of crazy. I mean,
oh, really?
I'll be riding. The weird thing is I've been living in L.A. now because of the show.
Yeah.
I don't do very well in it. I got stopped by a cop once in L.A., and he gave me a script instead of a ticket. He was like, he went like, here, Mr. Williams, how are you? And if you don't like this, please give it to Eddie Murphy. Thanks. But riding a bike in L.A. is truly kind of dangerous because you'll be and all of a sudden they really do. Because everyone's like, you know, they're all talking, they're texting, everything. Right. And you just have to be like, no.
But you're for real, though. You don't, you take this very seriously. You've done bike treks, like you've done, you know, 2 weeks going across like continents and stuff. Like
no, I'm not that serious.
Oh, really? I thought, didn't you train with like the guy who won the Tour de France, Greg LeMond or something like that, and like rode with him for a little bit?
Yeah, I rode with him one time, and I used to ride with Lance in the old days.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Used to ride behind the Unibowler.
Did you really? You rode with Lance Armstrong?
I rode with him, yeah, once or twice. But he's so good. He'd be on the phone. He's been doing all this stuff. He's hands free. I'm like, you bastard.
Right. But he tears it up. Now, what is this? You're back doing a series.
Yes, sir.
In L.A.
In L.A.
Well, why?
It's a job, brother. It's a job, but it was also David E. Kelly. I had a meeting with him.
Well, that guy is unbelievable. He's a
sweet
tremendous
guy,
writer.
sweet, good man, and a wonderful guy to work with. And he's a tough laugh, though.
Yeah.
He doesn't laugh as much. You do something really funny, and this is all you're getting. You're like, huh?
Nothing.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it'd be like, oh, ah. That's like a standing ovation for him. But he's a great writer, and I thought, okay, I'll take a shot with you, and go. You know.
Now, is it hard for you with a guy like that? I think that's probably hard because.
Well, when I did Mork and Mindy years ago, it was like, go back 32 years ago when I did Mork and Mindy.
That was 32 years.
There was tape back then. There were only 3 networks, and the only thing that was wired was me. I was on everything but skates, but it was crazy.
I know. I've read the story.
Yes, I went to rehab in wine country just to keep my options open.
How does it feel now? Do you feel like this is the sobriety and the learning that you've done? Is it a new lease on life? Do you feel like the same person? Yeah. Like, what is it? Does the brain? Were you worried when I remember when I quit doing drugs and smoking?
You remember that now?
Yes, I do. But I remember being very fearful that I would lose my ability to work, to be funny, or to write. That I thought that they were somehow connected.
Well, I think there's a higher power. There's also a lower power.
Yeah.
There's the lower power that goes, text that girl with you and show her pictures of your junk. It's okay. Yeah. She's not going to share that with anybody. And the same lower power goes, you know, you need this. Come on now. I relapsed. I was up in Alaska, and all of a sudden, I hadn't been sober for 20 years, and all of a sudden, I walked into a store and saw a little bottle of Jack Daniels and went, that'll be fine. That'll be okay. The moment I had the first sip, it was like, all of a sudden, it was like, welcome back, ass. A week later, I was walking down the street and with like 10 little bottles of Jack Daniels in my pockets. I sounded like a wind chime. It was like, and I got I got down so quick. So I went right to blackouts, and it's a misnomer. They call it blackouts. It's not. It's like sleepwalking with activities. That's your brain going, we're gonna do stuff you're not gonna know. You wake up in a small field going, where am I? Me. It's just crazy stuff. But I think that's the illusion, and I think like you come through it and you realize, yes, you can create better. You can get back, and it's just and the main operative word is fear. And like you said, the fear's there, and you try and overcome it with that. But you know, if you can deal with the fear and then realize some of it's real, some of it isn't, and then come through that, you get deeper, boss. You get deep.
And the lifestyle is so conducive to that type because we are generally bored individuals. And we're working 40 minutes a night in Winnipeg for 2 straight weeks.
Oh, is it?
And there's that is.
Don't make them angry. They're Canadians.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this.
You're the nicest country in the world. You're like a sweet apartment over a meth lab. It's really.
But it is that idea of like, and so during the day you don't have anything to do with yourself, and you think like, I bet I could make a crack pipe. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like, hey, why don't we have a project?
That's like, when does your lower voice have activities? It's got hobbies. Like, what do you do? I'm making a crack pipe.
You send it to camp and then see what happens.
Whoop-de-doo.
How you doing, pal? I'm doing good. I miss you. I was telling you this backstage. One of the few comics when I don't hear your comedic voice for all, I miss it. It's so funny and I'm so glad to see you coming back to TV.
Hey, listen, man. I like all your politics.
Thank you, Norm. I appreciate that. Now, you're Canadian. Your government has collapsed. It's completely collapsed.
It has?
It's completely collapsed.
Well, the good thing is it doesn't matter at all. This is why, you know, because you're such a political guy, and I realized when I came here, because I was never political, and it's because you're from America and I'm from Canada, and in America you have a duty to be political,
Because you vote for the wrong guy, he blows up the world. Right? Now, in Canada, here's our elections in Canada. Go, hey, listen, how does that guy stand on the bridge building? It's always, that's every time. One guy goes, I think we should build the bridge. And the other guy's, I don't care for the bridge. So
it's all bridge-based politics.
We don't got no, they never gave us no red phone. You know, you're president. I thought you were political.
No, I didn't realize we had a red phone. Here's the.
You don't realize
but here's the part of
president
America.
has a red phone?
But here's what it's come to be for in America.
And you're the most trusted man in
No,
America?
I'm not trusted. It seems like now, no matter who we vote for, no matter which guy we get, we still blow it out of the world. So, at a certain point, maybe we just like blowing stuff up.
Americans? Well, listen, if I was president, man, I'd get on that red phone right away and blow something up. But
what would you blow up first?
What would I blow up?
Yeah.
That stupid high school I went to for...
Empty building, of course.
But listen, man, I'll tell you this, though. With the streets of Libya running with blood...
Okay, I'll buy your premise.
Yeah. Listen, the Egyptians are so brave, you know, and the guys in Tripoli trying to take over, and Bahrain. Here's what I'm trying to get at. I'm from Canada. We got a queen. She lives in England, right? We're so we can't get. Seriously, I could get a bunch of buddies of mine. I swear to God, I could get 2 or 3 dozen buddies of mine. We could go over to Buckingham Palace takeover.
I would totally do that with you.
It's an old bag in a castle.
You know what is the most difficult part of that? Finding which room she's in. Do you have any idea? If you go attack her, there's like 130 rooms. We'd probably lose interest before we got to her.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. But you know, Gaddafi is surrounded by what is he surrounded by?
Bahrain.
I'm
guessing he's surrounded by like dancing girls. He's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, he's a nutbag.
No, he likes the ladies. That's what I heard.
Did you know he has a Ukrainian nurse who apparently is...
Well, follows her everywhere. Yeah, pretends he's a nurse, but I've heard that maybe there's a little hanky-panky going on. Listen, I don't want to badmouth Gaddafi. I want to talk about Watson the computer.
Oh, let's talk about that. I'm happy to talk about that.
You know that character?
I love that guy. He was on Jeopardy. He crushed.
Yeah, he was on Jeopardy, and he crushed. You guys know Watson the computer?
Sure. Terrific.
Yeah. So, I watched it. It was cool. And the funny thing was, like, they were like, I wonder if, who's going to win? Watson the computer? Or that guy that works down at the hat store? And... First of all, I don't think he should be called Watson, because wasn't Watson the guy that didn't know Sherlock Holmes?
He was the helper. It should be Sherlock.
Yeah, Watson was like, hey, what about this? And then he'd go, elementary, my idiot friend. So he should have been called Sherlock. But anyways, you know.
No, it was a good aside.
So, so Watson naturally he's a computer.
Crushed him.
Yeah. Killed them, you know? And even his stories were better, you know what I mean? You notice that? Like when Alex Trebek would say the story, I go, Watson, I understand you have a story about jail, you know? And then Watson was like, yes, one time Oscar Wilde was in prison and George Bernard Shaw came to him and said, why, Oscar, what are you doing in there? To which Oscar Wilde quickly retorted, why, George Bernard, what are you doing out there? You know? And the guy next to him was like, God damn, I was going to tell my story about the hat. I gave the guy the wrong hat that time.
When does this show come on? When does the show come on air? Lewis was the host of, it was
Young Comic Special.
Right, it was 24 years
And you
ago.
looked like me back then. You were 10 and I was about
That's
21.
Why, you know why I keep having you back on the show, to find out what I'm going to look like. I keep bringing you on. I brought you on right now to go. All right, that'll be fine.
Better than that. I could have gone to Woodstock, but it was drizzling and I stayed home. Okay? But I went to a lot of stuff when I was 16 and 17. Now, if I had anybody in that mug, he could have been my son, and it would have been unbelievable. I love it. And you know what I've done?
Can I tell you something?
Sure, whatever. It's your show.
That was nicer than anything my real father ever said to me. Here's the nicest thing my real father ever said to me. You're like something that happened when I something in the mud.
No, but you would have been my son, and I would have been proud of you, but I would have asked you for one thing. Money.
Do you remember the first thing? I met you at Caroline's. I opened for you at Caroline's when it was still at the Seaport.
Back in like the early 80s.
It was back in late 80s.
Yeah, all right.
Do you remember the first thing you ever said to me? First line, I'll never forget it.
You could have been my son if I someone in the mud.
No! The first thing Richard Lewis ever said to me in my life, and I was a huge fan and remain a huge fan, was, I have terrible diarrhea.
I said that?
It was the first line you ever said to me. I have terrible diarrhea.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. I was coming back at Caroline's. Remember, there was no green room. I was going to put my coat back, and I had my coat right up on the hook, and all of a sudden I hear from the corner, I have terrible diarrhea.
Let me just jump to something. About 9 months ago, I did the Fallon show. But 2 nights before,
yes.
I know, and I had food poisoning. So my wife was with me, my publicist. You can't go on because no matter what I've done in my career, if I would have taken a dump, it would have been Wikipedia. On the Fallon show.
I'm going to do you a favor.
No, I got to finish.
No, let me do you a favor.
I can't finish the story. I got 25 seconds.
You can finish it when I'm done with the favor.
You know, I could have had you as a son if I somebody at Woodstock.
Settle down. Wikipedia. Take care of that for him. They're going to write it down for you.
No, let me just dig.
Keep going.
I'll do it fast because I hate leaving.
Do it.
Because in the middle of a sentence you go, Richard Lewis, everybody, and I could get a stroke. I could get a stroke. I'm in my 60s. Now listen what happened.
Are you in your 60s?
I'm in my 60s. Please, just
You look terrible. 60s?
I shaved for you. I dressed up.
When you came out, I swear to God, I thought the Bible has come alive. I had no idea. 60s?
And why do they always put the Bible in the hotel room? I want a Jewish delicatessen takeout order on the other side. I mean, I kid the Mormons, but I don't care about the Salt Lake. I want a pastrami sandwich. So anyway, I had a stomach poison. You know, when you have that, you're on the toilet for 28 hours, and I had
What had you eaten? What had you eaten?
It was food poisoning, and I had a recovery. No, that's what it is.
I know,
so
but
my wife says you
specifically.
can't go on Fallon, and my publicist says we got to. I'm not canceling. The show must go on. So she went. I said, do me a favor, get me the pens, so in case it happens, no one will know. I mean, Fallon could have been like a porcupine. He could have done that. But I didn't do anything. But you got me like this Calvin Klein. They come out with Calvin Klein. Can I stand up?
I'd like
that. So you put the Calvin Klein in, and it sucks your stomach in like a girdle. So I look like $1 million. So they said, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Lewis. Hey, how are you? How's everything going? So I told my wife. So when I did the show, it went well. And then I went out and snuck out and bought 12 pair. So the whole trip in New York, my wife's friends, he looks great for 60. I love
that. Let me tell you something.
Let me go. I know. How many? We have a minute and a half.
No, but that is
what?
In terms of a billboard in Times Square for Calvin Klein. Richard Lewis.
I love
in his Depends.